Okay. Hey, Etwert. Thanks for being here super early, my dude. Okay, let's make sure this is connected for both. Hello? Question mark?
Cool. Well, what's going on? I'm gonna take a quick little tinkle.
You got it.
BRB.
Hello? All right, closed caption should be turning on here soon. So if anybody wants to disable those, you should see that in the right corner of the screen on desktop, or on mobile, you'll have to tap. Is that Cosmic Cat? Hello. Ingrediology. Hello. Hello, hello. Thank you for the hosts. Excellent connection. Beautiful. Awesome. So the stream's both live on YouTube and Twitch right now. That's great. Not a cult. This is not a cult. Which is honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, that'd be a really funny thing for Colt Diggity to say. I have a friend named Colt Diggity, but if he was just like, it's not a cult, and just took your...
Are you giving my own bits away? Perfect. Oh, I love it.
The Tactical Strangler. Hello. Hey, Skennis. How you doing, bud? Good to see you. Not a cult. Yeah, exactly. C-O-L-T. This is not a cult. Okay. Make sure I got my notes up.
Oh, yeah, I should probably...
I'm just going to use it as a frame of
well.
reference, but yeah.
Okay.
I mean, based on how we had our conversation, we're not going to have a problem navigating this. Yes ands and improv wise, you're going to take the lead on that, but can he see me?
We'll keep it just in case. We'll do a Mark Maron approach to this as we normally would do.
Nice. All right. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. Hope everybody is doing all right. I know it's been a wild week in some states. I know it's been kind of crazy here today. In Chicago. A lot of police violence going on this week, and for anybody in Chicago too, I hope you've had some time today to like decompress. I know before stream I got a fucking killer workout in as a result of it. Tell you what, this whole pandemic's been really good for the workouts in general, just because I've been, they're like body fueled by, and then they have like their sponsor or whatever. Mine's just anger. So
anger
angry.
and spite is
Yes.
perfect.
Yeah. I got the Doom shirt on, so you know.
Rip and tear
Rip
those
and
muscles,
tear until
baby.
it is done. Yeah, of course, Cosmic Cat. It's all over the place. Wherever police are, apparently.
Yeah, do you know Cosmic Cat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, not like personally.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
She's a delight.
yeah, and a phenomenal chef. Like,
Yeah.
talk about improv cookery, like she'll start with the recipe and then she's like, well, we're gonna do this, or but yeah, her significant other James, Chainbrain is how I got to know Kat. And I
that's
met
awesome.
Chainbrain through Sequisha, Sequisha's already a guitar enthusiast, but usually what I do is like the last like hour and a half of work, I'll just lurk in Chainbrain's channel, and then I saw that Kat started streaming and cooking and stuff like recently, or somebody mentioned it in his chat, and then yeah, it's, I don't know, they both have the same like energy about them where they're just super welcoming and warm, and it feels like you're in the same room with them. It's not a very common feeling,
It's a hard thing to pull off.
Yeah.
It truly is.
Yeah. Ooh. All right, y'all ready? Okay, so before we get started, I'm just gonna let you know what's going on this end, like for or Mayor, like I'm gonna tell you beforehand. So I'm gonna hit the intro button. We're gonna be muted beforehand. Your audio channel will be muted for the time being until I do like the intro to the show, and then I will transition to a scene where we're both there, and then we'll do the whole like welcome in and all that. Okay. Awesome. Alrighty. Welcome to the XP Talk Show, everybody. Thanks for being here.
If should ever you fall, he's a true, is the real true dudes in all the land. When he's taking a shower or coming down the stairs, he's always got time for anyone who's there. Yeah! He's the coolest dude, he's got advice for you.
Quick disclaimer.
He's not an expert, here's a platonic smooch and a wait for you, because Conky Talks is here for you.
Hello, everybody. Hello. So welcome in. This is the XP Talk Show. I'm your host, Conky Talks. Today, we're going to be having a very special guest on the show, like we do all the time. I feel like I say that all the time. But I want to talk a little bit about like expectations and just sort of go into like what to expect and all that stuff. So for the show, you'll notice that notifications are muted, and that is for my own sake. For me, I've got ADHD, so any alerts and shit going on, is more distracting than it is helpful. I will run through the list and like thank everybody at the end if I remember. So full disclosure, I'm more focused on the conversation at hand. And continuing that. As far as like what to expect out of this conversation, we're going to be going over a few topics while we're going through it. If you're concerned that your topic or the topic that we're talking about and you want to say something or have a question on it, you can totally get your question answered. You just want to make sure that you enter the queue, which is open now. So typing !Q and typing your question or anecdote that you have for Mayor or myself, that's something that we'll get to at the end with like the Q&A portion of the show. And then as far as just like what else to expect, this isn't like a traditional podcast setup where, you know, like I have an agenda and all this stuff. I did a pre-talk show with Wertz about like the things we wanted to touch on. But we mutually came to the understanding that this would just kind of like the conversation would just sort of flow in a certain direction. And then we both have the leeway to address things in chat. So Wertz has full permission to like see something in chat, respond to it, that sort of thing. And I have the same thing too. So like if we see something, you know, like by all means we'll answer it. But again, if you're concerned it's going to be missed, !Q, type your question, whatever it is. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to the man, the myth, the legend, the wonderful politician, MayorWertz.
Hello.
Wow,
What's going on?
It was perfectly timed.
Did that work?
It did.
Did that bit work?
The bit worked.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. How are you, Conky? What's good?
I'm doing great.
Are you lying to me? Are you telling me? I feel like you might be lying to me that it didn't work and I messed up my cue.
No, it totally worked.
Hell yeah.
Like it totally worked. I'm kind of flabbergasted. I wasn't really expecting that to be like how well that was done. Yeah.
I felt it. I felt it in my bones. What's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on, buddy?
Nothing much, man. Welcome on the show. Thank you, first of all, for doing this with us here.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I do appreciate that immensely.
Yeah, you were the one who reached out and scheduled, so I was very stoked to see that. So thank you for doing that first and foremost.
Of course. Well, you said if you want to be on, you got to fill out a form, and I'm a man that likes to fill out forms. I was like, this is the best way. I don't want to be, I did DM you beforehand. I said, is it okay if I fill out this form?
You did.
Because I'm going to fill out this form right now. and I did. It was a very relaxing experience. I didn't cry once.
Yes.
So.
Didn't cry once during the form process, which was good feedback.
No. Mm-hmm.
Good feedback. So for everybody who's like unfamiliar with who you are and what you do, would you mind giving them like a little bit of an intro and like breakdown sort of thing?
Yeah, sure. Hello, folks. My name is MayorWertz. I am a variety streamer on the Twitch.tv platform application. When I'm on stream, we do horror games, VR, cooking shows, IRL, whatever I really just want to do. Off stream, I am a comedy rapper, videographer, and improviser. And we are not a cult. That's probably the most thing that's important when it comes to how we do all of this, as you saw in the emotes in the chat earlier and whatnot. So it's very important that we're all in understanding up front,
This is not a cult.
It is not a cult. It's not a cult.
I was waiting for you to say it. I was like, as long as we understand. He just like looked into the camera, was like, is he gonna say we are not a cult?
No. I want you to say it. Okay. I want you. See, it's a call and response. You
got it. Okay.
You know what's gonna come up, and then it moves that way. It's perfect.
Okay,
see,
I understand.
You do the work for me. It's working. It's working smarter, not harder.
I understand now. Okay. Well, we're gonna figure this whole improv thing out, I'm sure, through the conversation. So it'll just get better and better as we're going.
It's very easy.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you again for coming in on the show. As far as like what we talked about previously, I know that like improv's on the docket. We've got comedy. There's sort of like an amalgamation of all this stuff. But first, I want to talk about your name and like how you landed on that. And I feel like that will kind of lead us through the rest of the conversation. Because MayorWertz, like, I don't know any other mayors on Twitch. Did you like do research into that to see how many mayors were like or different mayors are on Twitch that aren't politicians. I don't know.
I had this name before Twitch, before I
Okay.
started twitching. Okay, so what happened was I used to go under a different moniker, MC Cool Whip. That was my old rap name. So like that was a problem because of branding and labeling and stuff like that. And the real, stake in the heart there was I did a series on YouTube called Kyle Reads 50 Shades of Grey, where I read excerpts of 50 Shades of Grey in front of a fireplace, and I have a robe on and stuff like that. And I got a bunch of DMCA takedowns from the publishing company. So I said, well, if they could just get me just for that content, I should probably just like wipe clean. I'm about to hit college. Like I'm about to go into media school. Like I gotta cut this. I gotta put the kibosh on that immediately. So I thought when it comes to names, it's important to have authority. It's important so everyone knows right away what you are in your name. Like Conky Talks. It's going to imply that you are a talk show, that you are going to be just chatting in some capacity.
Yes.
When it comes to mayor, I have an authority, and it may be, it may be a lie. It may not be. We don't know. I base it a little off of like Dr. Dre. So like he's a doctor, obviously. So it's like, why can't I be a mayor? And the thing is, like, no one's gonna question you being a mayor because there are literal dogs in the United States of America that are mayors of towns. So it's like the bar is so low that everyone's like, yeah, anyone could be a mayor, like over the age of 25.
That's
So,
true. Yeah, we've got
there you go.
We've
It's
got
perfect.
Lori Lightfoot in Chicago. That's a perfect example of an incapable person.
See? It's that easy.
True.
It's that easy to become a mayor. You just get the signs, you put them on the lawns, or in Chicago,
With or
you put them
without
in the
permission.
windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I put them in the middle of the night, and I'm like, guess what? It's MayorWertz time right now. Like, here's a free sign. Who doesn't like free stuff? So yes, then I became MayorWertz. I just started rapping under that moniker, and then when I got on Twitch, obviously no one's going to have the MayorWertz because the Wertz is my last name. I didn't just make that up. I'm not that creative.
Okay.
I
was like, maybe the words part is like,
yeah,
its own thing.
It just shows that I'm German. That's just all it says right away. That I can eat many bratwursts. That's about as far as it goes.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so going back to what you said before, you were talking about like your rap name was MC Cool Whip. So
Yeah.
the rap career, was that like, well, first of all, how did you get into rapping? Like, how did that occur? Was it just like something you're like, I would like to do this, or what was the inspiration for you on that?
Well, it was a combination of I saw people rapping on the internet about things that I knew about, which were video games and internet things. But then also I was failing science class because I'm not a very smart individual.
Same. I can empathize.
So, and they said you could do extra credit, but it has to be something creative. And I'm like, I saw these people online rap about science. I'm like, I could do that. I can rap about science. I listened to rap music my whole entire life. Are you kidding me? So I did that and I passed with like flying D's. And I'm like, perfect.
Nice.
I can keep doing this. I'm having a great time. I found a community online. They were called Rhyme Torrents, this genre of rap is called nerdcore hip hop. So it's just nerdy subjects about video games and computers and hacking and whatever you want it to be, as long as it is in that realm of a pop culture thing. You could identify as nerdcore. And I fell into this forum because guess what? Forums were still a thing back then. And and now I'm here still doing more. I'm doing comedy stuff now, not so much about video games very often.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. Yeah, the whole like, I don't know, the internet culture aspect of forums is really interesting because it was like Yahoo Answers and like all those. Everybody like looks at Yahoo Answers as like a form of forums, and yeah, that's the case. But like before, we had Facebook and social media sites and all this stuff. There were, and I feel like I just need to break this down because there are people who live through an era where like that doesn't
Yeah, you
that
guys
didn't exist.
go through forums.
Yeah, where like you
didn't
literally
pick out an icon.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes, you didn't pick out an icon or anything. It was like heavily HTML, like Git ridden. It was completely anonymous. There was no way for you to like know who the person was or like their email address or anything like that unless you were administrator. And some of these forums didn't even require email sign up. You would just create a username and then you'd be good. And I know Reddit was like that for a long time, but
two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
It was the Wild West back then.
Yeah.
There was barely even one-factor authentication. It did not matter. You found a username that you could use in that forum. It's yours, buddy. You put an icon of a dragon. You put a cool quote of like, I don't know, 1984 from George Orwell. It didn't matter.
Yes.
Everyone just believed that you were that person. So.
Yeah. So you found like a community online for nerdcore hip hop. Was MC Cool Whip the name? Like that's where it started? You were like, I'm MC Cool Whip now?
Yes.
Okay. So you did that
right
specifically for a science project? And then like was the involvement in the online forum and group that you like got in contact with, was that what solidified your pursuit into continue doing that?
I would say yes. Because
cool.
I found people to bounce ideas off of, and I found a place where like I was understood, which I feel like is such a big thing because like none of the people I hung out with in high school did anything creative at all. They just did computer stuff. We played video games. They're still great people. I still talk to them, once in a while, and I still hang out with these people. But they just. I never found in high school a creative group of people. Maybe one or two that were in show choir, but like, I don't know if you ever met any show choir kids in high school. They're unbearable. They're singing all the time. They think they're in High School Musical, and they're like dancing in the hallways, and you're like, I don't want to deal with
it's
this
obnoxious,
right now. Like,
okay?
I'm going through puberty right now. We don't need to add more attention to me. I would really appreciate if we didn't do this. That would be great.
Yeah.
I tried to avoid those people because they were so awkward. I'm like, wow, like even the nerd in high school, I was like, get a load of these guys. Like that's like we knew the ranking and that was okay.
You knew where the line was, and you were like, okay, we don't cross this line because this is too much attention, and I'm already getting too much. Yeah. Okay.
And it's like it's a lack of self-awareness as well. It's like, well, you're running down the hallway, dancing and singing, and everyone else is just trying to live their lives.
Yes.
It boils down to like, even like the anime kids or whatever, like
Naruto running down the hallway.
Yeah, like that. Like you're disrupting. I never wanted to be disruptive. I was very much a goody two shoes. I've learned is that like I never skipped class. Like none of that because I just didn't want to I didn't want all eyes on me in that situation.
Yeah.
And even the anime kids, they did the Naruto run. Is that how you? Yeah, Naruto. That's how you pronounce it, right?
Okay. Naruto? I don't know. I
think so.
Naruto.
I could go ask my fiance with all the anime books behind me. Mangas. That's what they're called.
Mangas.
But yeah, those kids would like screech and they would like make loud noises, and I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself? Please.
I hope there's somebody that's like watching this that's just like screeching right now because of.
I know. They're probably smacking their desk, and they're just like
it's manga,
this garbage person with the chest hair.
Yes.
What a monster.
Okay. So that was okay. So comedy rapper, internet forums kind of solidified your pursuit in that. You didn't have any like creative influence, but on the internet, for the most part. Did you end up meeting any of those people you met on forums?
Yeah.
You did?
It was awesome.
Okay. So
my parents were super cool.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
So there was a music, like a music convention that was happening in Florida right when I turned 18 called Nerdapalooza. It was in Orlando, Florida. It happened for many years.
Nerdapalooza. Okay.
I have been talking to these people for like a year now, nonstop. Phone calls, Skype calls, like playing video game. Like these are my friends, but I've never met them in person. And I got offered a place to stay down there by the organizer. His name is John. And the rule was my parents had to talk to him on the phone before I went down there to make sure he wasn't a creep. And they trusted me. I don't know why they trusted me, but they knew I had a good head on my shoulders.
But that's
a big old head.
That for sure. Like, okay, so just to kind of lead into part of the conversation we talked about, like your parents and influence on that, like it's absolutely astounding, especially in comparison to me.
Yeah.
Just because my experience was the complete opposite. It was like we didn't get internet until I was a teenager. And even then, it was like, you can't use this computer because it's a work computer and the internet is dangerous and strangers are dangerous and don't talk to strangers. But you had the complete opposite of that experience.
Yeah. It's definitely a yin and yang situation. I feel bad. I feel bad telling you about this because I'm like, we have different upbringings.
You can't compare traumas. This is like this is like a beautiful thing for you. Like it's how you became MayorWertz. You know? So like this is what we're trying to do on the show. Like we want to figure that out. So continue.
So it was going down Nerdapalooza, and the other thing was we went on a vacation to Florida maybe like 6 months before, and my parents always do this thing when they go on vacation. We were kids where it was every child. I have a younger sister. Each child they could do one thing that they want to do, and we are, as long as it's not we're all in agreement we should go do this for the child. And my thing was like, I want to go see one of these nerdcore shows in Florida. It's happening this weekend. We rented a car, and like they met my father, and my dad's like, oh, these are like normal people. And I'm like, yeah, these are just internet people. And he's like, I don't understand the music. I don't get it. It doesn't appeal to me, but like they seem like nice people. He loved hearing that people were talking about him. Like they're like, oh, how's your dad doing? He's like, oh, I like this. You can hang out with these people. So yeah, at those two events, and then I flew down to Florida 18, had the time of my life down there, just meeting all my nerdy friends all weekend.
Wow.
You know, the statute of limitations probably gone, so drinking excessively, but it's in Florida, so it's like it's very hot and humid, so you're just sweating it out anyways. It doesn't even matter. So yeah, I guess we had definitely a different opposite approach to the internet.
Well, I think I don't know. I feel like if I didn't really have, like, all my close friends were in physical proximity and my parents could meet them, right? So I feel like, you know, I don't know. It says it's a pretty cool testament to how involved your parents were in your life. By not only trusting you with the information that you were giving them, like, I want to meet these people that I've met online. I've been talking to them for a year, like, and renting a car and going with you and like having a phone call with like the person who organized Nerdapalooza.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a really cool experience. Were your parents like big, like video game nerd people, or were they just kind of well, you said that your dad didn't really understand. What about your mom?
My mom didn't get it either, but I grew up playing video games with my dad, and sometimes with my mom. She likes the music games, so like she likes the Guitar Hero, the Rock Band, like that's her realm of things. She's very, very into music. My father is too, but not in a different way. But he brought me up with, you know, Punch Out and Duke Nukem 3D and Mech Warrior and you know, eventually Call of Duty, and like, you know, I feel like I got to give them a lot of credit. Like they always knew that like whatever I'm watching it's very clear that it doesn't exist and I shouldn't be doing this. Like they bought me GTA 3 when it came out because they heard it was a really good game, and not, you know, they cared to a certain extent, but they always trusted me to know. But also at the same time, I always had really good grades. Like I was like, I'm doing good, so let's compromise a little bit. Like let's keep the kid going. So I don't know, how did you do in school?
For me, I was a troublemaker, and I mean, just to be completely transparent, I grew up in a very abusive household, so it was like,
gotcha. Yeah,
not very like happy all the time. I used video games as like a escapism, but it wasn't like a like I wasn't living. You know what I mean? It wasn't like one of those situations. I was allowed to play video games and hang out with my friends, and then like in my teenager years, once I got a car, there was obviously more freedom with that, with curfew and stuff. but it was
Yeah.
never like, I don't know. It wasn't, I would say like most of the things that like I cared about and learned about and all the stuff that like I wanted to do was all my own, and I wasn't really left to do it with my parents. My parents were just kind of completely different. Like my mom listens to Bon Jovi and like works a lot. And my dad's an electrician and he doesn't know how to use a mouse and keyboard. You know, like, and he's not old. Like he's like 53. He just like
Does he just refuse? He just refuses to learn it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like
some
this
people are
insane
just
thing.
like that, man.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I cannot understand the de-evolving of times. Like things are going at a rapid pace. These last 10 years of technology, it's like you got to get on board the ship, otherwise you're gonna drown. Like it's so hard to catch up nowadays. Like I go see my Pookie, my grandmother, and we got her a smartphone. She has a laptop. I installed a new printer for her last week. Like she's playing games, she's sending me pictures. I'm like, good for you. Like, but you got to keep up with it. Like it's so to be behind in those times is
it's weird. Yeah. My dad actually uses a smartphone. It's the one thing that he like, I don't know. He uses it
can
like,
understand.
Yeah, he can understand it because, you know, there's less barrier for entry. There's no mouse and keyboard peripherals or anything like that. It just works.
It's in your hand, it's mobile, and you can literally touch it and it does stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's super accessible. So like, I feel like that's been a big thing. But yeah, video games and I guess like my unique upbringing and like where it came from was mostly from my friend group. Like my friends. The friends that I grew up with and like really solidified like my teenage years with were family, like my family's friends that they went to college with and grew up with. And so all of their kids like hung out. So
that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So it was like me and 7 dudes who were just like really into metal music and video games. And we would just like hang out and stay up late and stuff all the time on the weekends. But it was never like it was never like I never had like the encouragement from my parents in the way that you're describing. That's really it's a beautiful thing. I'm very happy for that.
Oh, thank you. I should call them tomorrow and tell them all the nice things you're telling. But I mean encouragement is something towards it. I think it's just more of like reward to make sure I'm still doing good in school. I think that was like the main thing of that. Like, he's doing good. Let's encourage that. Let's move upon that. And I was doing bad. They would take away, like, I spent all summer trying to earn a computer. And like, once my grades dropped for any reason, they would pull that power cord. Like, they're like, no, this is not what we're doing. Like, you should be focusing on school. So they were very strict. They're very strict about that, and they were very stern, which is good. I feel like that's a good quality to have. But they always knew about shelf life too. Like I did sports. I'm always okay at sports when I was a child, but like I also didn't really like sports that much. So they were like, as long as you finished your season, you could be done with it. You could do the baseball, and you may hate baseball, but you have to see it through. I think that's what they wanted to instill in me more than anything else.
Yeah, commitment.
Like, even though it sucks, but just deal with it, man.
Yeah, but you were like, I want to do it, right? So you want to do it. You bought the equipment. You're like going to practice, and it's like now you're in it. Like you made the decision to do it, so you have to follow through, you know?
Exactly. You got to follow through, and then at the end of the season, guess what? MayorWertz does not like soccer very much. He'd rather do anything else.
It turns out running all the time is not that fun. I thought it would be fun.
It's tiring. Yeah. It's not very fun at all. And I want to sit on the grass. Like I just want to sit down for a little bit. That'd be
I want to
great.
be one of the parents on the side, like just watching everybody play.
They were having a great time. They had food. They had comfortable seating. They were all giggling and laughing. Like I got to, some of our nieces and nephews, they're very young, and we went to a game maybe like a year and a half ago, like before the pandemic, and just being on the sidelines watching kids play a game. I'm like, I'm having the best time of my life right now. Are you kidding me right now? I don't have to play the game. I get to eat whatever I want, and laugh and like don't even have to really care about the game. No one's really paying attention. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good feeling. I recommend it. I recommend going there if you know the kids. If you don't, it may be a little awkward, but there's got to be an in-between. So,
yeah, I feel like you play for the first season, right? Or the first whatever. Yeah, I guess it would be the season, right? And then like the next season, you're just that kid on the sideline cheering on your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling to have.
I like
you
that.
already did it. You already went through the muck. Like, let's cheer everyone else on so they can get out of the muck so we can go play Counter-Strike Source later. Like, that's the way to do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. That's a really it sounds like you grew up in a very like loving, caring household that reinforced the things that you wanted to do, gave you like that whole follow through mentality, but more importantly, supported you in the things that they didn't even understand, which is I think like a really big thing about having a child. Like, I don't have a kids or anything. I've got a dog, you know, that's the closest I've got, but
that's still a child. It still requires most things children do.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I would agree. It's but when it comes down to like, I can't, you know, show the same amount of care about this rope monkey that like my dog cares about. It'd be like, yes, I love this. You know what I mean? But
this is everything to me.
This is everything to me. Yeah, I just want to support you. You know, I guess I could do that. I could do that.
How old's the dog now?
He's 4. Yeah.
Okay.
And we adopted him when he was 4. You know, so
yeah.
Yeah,
it was rather recently, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's gonna be 3 months at the end of this one.
I think you have to post more pictures of the dog.
Yeah, I really am bad about
I feel like
taking
you don't
photos.
post, and I know. It's a habit you have to get used to, and it's something that I do as a videographer where I'm just like taking photos of dumb stuff. I may delete most of them because I don't really care, but I'm trying to get into that zone of being like just posting it and just having it because people just want to see animals.
It's
like,
true.
I hate streamer Twitter, but I like streamer Twitter when they post about their animals.
That's true.
Like, that's what I care about. I don't care about your dumb hot take that's not a hot take. It's lukewarm at best. I want to see what your dog's up to. I want to see what your cat's up to, man. Like,
yeah. Show me your cat.
I don't care about it. Yeah, show me your cat. I don't care about what you're playing on stream. I want to see what your cat's up to. It's important.
I agree. Yeah. So with your parents, with encouraging you to pursue this stuff like Nerdapalooza, did you get to play any shows at Nerdapalooza, or were you just more like participating?
I did. I started play. So like the first one I went to was 18, and then 19, 20, and 22. I played in some capacity, whether it was a pre-show at a comic book store or like on stages. Just like in all honesty, like I could have just gone every single year and had a blast and just be with my friends. It did not matter to me. You know, that was like in my mind an added bonus. Is like, cool, I get to perform in a location I normally don't in front of my friends who were all very encouraging. Like it's a very nice feeling. But yeah, I like just hanging out and like going to hotel parties, and like that was what you did till like 5 o'clock in the morning. You drank and you hung out with friends, and then you got kicked out of one hotel room, and then you went to another hotel room. Like that's just what it was.
That's super unique. So when was your first one again? When was the first time you went to Nerdapalooza?
2008. Sorry, when I said 18, I messed that up. 2008.
2008. And then how many do you go every year? Is this like a continued?
It stopped in 2012. That was their last one.
Were you going every year though after you went in 2008?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only one I didn't go to, I only missed one, and that was because my cousin was getting married. And then I still hold it against him because he got divorced and remarried. So I bring that up to him once in a while. I think, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, hey, I'm having a great time in Florida every year, and you happen to just get married to some woman.
Yeah.
And
now she's some woman. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you guys get divorced in 6 months. Come on now. Come on.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
I imagine like that when you heard about it, you called him. You know what I mean? You're like,
I gave him a little shit. I bet. He takes it. He takes it pretty well. He was you know, my cousin Chris was an influence in internet comedy as well. For me, like he showed me like Homestar Runner. So like,
Yeah.
I in all honesty, I cannot thank him enough for that, because that definitely solidified how comedy works for me on the internet. So
Homestarrunner.net.
he gets one pass. He gets one pass
For the
and
Homestar
that is
Runner?
Homestar Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Homestar Runner, man. That's been that, and like I don't know if you Flash not games, Flash shorts and comedy, like man. I like newgrounds.com was like a really big one for me,
Yeah.
with like getting introduced to like Oni cartoons and all that. Obviously the Flash games and stuff, but yeah, homestarrunner.net. It's .com. Yeah.
It's
Oh my goodness.
.com.
Yeah. Homestar10.net.
It still holds up. We were watching some on stream the other day and was like, oh, this is still funny. It just holds the test of time. Like, it really, not a lot of internet stuff does. Like, we watch Homestar Runner, and then we watch a thing called Foamy the Squirrel. I don't know if you remember that at all.
No,
but
Foamy the
basically
Squirrel, never heard of.
It was an animated squirrel that was like really big in the Hot Topic scene. Like right before it was like in that realm of like, they were still mostly about music, but like they started buying animated t-shirts. And
Oh
Foamy the Squirrel
my
was like
gosh.
the big one.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it before, but it's like a high-pitched voice, and it's just like rants. It's just someone ranting with a high-pitched voice, like a chipmunk voice, and he cusses, and you're like, oh my God, as a 12-year-old, this is amazing. Are you kidding me right now? And then as a 30-year-old, I'm like, oh, I get the joke. Like,
Foamy
I
the
can see all
Squirrel.
this coming. Yeah.
Well, it's got some Invader Zim vibes. Yeah, I definitely remember this. It totally fit in Hot Topic. 100%. Amazing.
Yeah, next to the Gurr t-shirts and stuff like that. So
Okay. So I guess like with your internet, when you were growing up with the internet and your parents kind of letting you have a sort of free reign, like they trusted you with that sort of thing. Like how, I mean, it started with the comedy rap career. So when did MayorWertz happen? Like what was the time when you went to Nerdapalooza, and then did you get to perform as MayorWertz beforehand, or were you MC Cool Whip for like the whole?
I was MC Cool Whip the whole time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then I think when I was like 23. Yeah, 23 is when things kind of changed over, slowly but surely, kind of thing.
Okay. And then was the improv aspect of this, like improv comedy, was that around the switch with MayorWertz?
No, it came a little later. There's still a lot of growth to do. I would say about 2 years later. Well, my timelines are a little messed up. I think the pandemic kind of screwed with my head a little bit of when things happen. So if things overlap during this talk right now, please excuse me. But
it's not like I'm gonna like shake you. Like
I know. Well, I try to be accurate when I can.
Yeah.
Because I'm often not right as a person. I'm often wrong about a lot of things. So I want to be right about my own history. But yeah, it was. I think it was around 23. I turned into MayorWertz, and then I think it was like 24, 25. I started doing the improv thing. Started taking classes.
Okay. And so what was the inspiration for that? Was that like in part by your parents or like internet culture? Like what was the inspiration for getting into improv?
It was Whose Line Is It Anyway? That was like a huge thing for me.
Phenomenal show.
Oh yeah, it was that, and it was Mystery Science Theater. I know that's not so much improv, but they shoot it and edit it. They shoot it and edit it like it's improv. I think a lot of it's written down script wise, but at least some of this stuff's got to be improv.
Yeah.
So it's those two things, and then I randomly came across an ad that said like my local performance art center was doing improv classes. I didn't even know that existed. Didn't even know that was like a thing that you could do. And I'm like, well, I gotta see what this is about. Like, I thought it'd be a great idea. Why not? Let's meet some other comedy people. Because I was still new to comedy in Cleveland at that time. So I didn't really, I would go see stand-up, I would go see local stand-up, but I wasn't like involved at all. Do you ever go out to see like stand-up in like Chicago or whatever?
Not as much as I should. I mean, it's just a lot of like online stuff that I've seen, like internet or specials, like Netflix specials, that sort of thing.
Yeah. What was the last good special that you saw?
It was the Oh, that's actually a really good question. The first thing I want to say is like the Dave Chappelle series that was on Netflix, but
Yeah.
I feel like I saw something newer.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. Yeah, Dave Chappelle, I think, was like the last thing I saw. The Netflix series that he was doing.
I still haven't seen those. It's like a two-parter, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Okay.
I mean, I would recommend them if basically like the way I would explain. I mean, I don't feel like I need to explain Dave Chappelle to you. You probably have a really good firm understanding of it. But for anybody who's curious about it, so like Dave Chappelle is just a well-seasoned dude. So like hearing him just go from serious topics and blending in his own like comedic perspective, it feels like a conversation but it's almost like a Carlin is what I would describe, but it's super nutrient dense.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot going on in his cadence and his sentence structure. Like, it's
almost
just,
like a beat poet.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's super well done. Yeah. Comedy was super interesting for me. I guess like growing up, it wasn't like improv comedy and all that. Like Whose Line Is It Anyway? I distinctly remember like watching that with my dad and my mom and like my sister, and we were laughing obviously because that show is phenomenal.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. And the fact that it ran for so long, like just based off of like, okay, it's Drew Carey pulling shit out of a hat. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first like comedy thing that I ever experienced was my dad showed me Richard Pryor's album. I think it was like The Pool House. I think that's what it was called.
Okay.
But that was my first time, like black comedy was always like a part of my household. It was Richard Pryor, Bill Cosby, and that was primarily it. Like that's what my dad showed me. And I always thought it was like interesting, how it was all about like these personal stories that were extreme and exaggerated. And it was just something that like I really enjoyed. And it was very like I wanted to imitate that. Like with like how I told stories and try to make my dad laugh and say obnoxious shit and stuff. So
exactly, because you see that reaction from your parents, like from the television. You're like, oh, it puts them at ease, it disarms them, and they're having a great time watching someone do comedy. Like that's a trigger for me. Kidding me? Like I could do something like that to like make my parents laugh and people to like me in that regard and listen to me. That's awesome. Did your mom do get into comedy stuff as well besides Whose Line, or your dad was the one that was like showing you?
Yeah, it was mostly my dad. My mom was like gone working a lot. She wasn't really like a bigger part of my life as much as my dad was. So me and my dad like bonded over playing like Super Mario 3, and he would show me comedy albums, and like he was just overall like a goof ass. Me and my sister are both like
goof ass.
That's how I would explain it. Like he'd be making a sandwich in the morning and he'd have a whole fucking song. It'd be different every day, you know, like, and he'd just be singing by himself. Like we could hear him, but he didn't give a shit. You know, so it was
didn't
like,
matter.
Yeah, it didn't
He
matter.
was entertaining himself in
Yes.
that. It's like the ball in the cup thing. It's like you're just playing for yourself, buddy.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
Exactly. Yes, that's the best way to describe it. So like that was my form of comedy, was like goof assery. And being a dummy. And I like, even when I was little, like I was getting into shit. Like one of my fondest memories that was like really fucking funny to me, although looking back on it was kind of messed up, was we had this giant like half a football field backyard, and
most stories start like that.
yes, and dude, and so I had this you know, that I don't know if anybody knows this game, but there was like the Elephun like butterfly game.
I had this. Yeah, the butterfly game.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you got to describe it though, because I don't think many people know what this is.
Okay, let me pull up an image, because as soon as somebody sees it, like
I'm pretty sure that you could probably get a commercial on YouTube or something.
Yeah. I don't know if there's like DMCA, but here's what it looks like. So like you'd get this this is they made a new version. the hell
There's
is
a
this?
new one?
Yeah. It's on Amazon right now.
I'm about to buy this for my nieces and nephews. This
You
game,
should
This
100%.
game slaps.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so like this game, essentially like what you would do is it came with this big plastic tube. You put all the butterflies at the bottom and you turn it on with batteries, and then it would blow all these like bow tie butterflies up, and whoever catches the most butterflies wins. So I took that
That's
net.
it.
I took that net, and in the spring, like all these flowers and dandelions would pop up, and there was bees everywhere. And so I spent probably close to an hour or more going flower to flower, catching all these bees and just dragging the net. And then I brought it up to the patio where my dad was working,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Dad, look at all these bees I got." And he's like, "What the heck are you doing?" And so like I distinctly remember he's like, "Okay, you have to stay here." And I'm sitting on the standing on the like back concrete porch or whatever, and he drags the net out in the middle of the field, and I see him like throw the net up, and then he just is
And he
full
just
sprint
runs.
running the fastest I've ever seen him running ever in my entire life. And I was like, that yeah. So I was always doing shit like that. I was always doing like weird
I
ass
love
shit.
it.
Yeah. But it's all because of him, you know. He's being a silly. He was a goof ass. Like he made me.
You learn from your parents. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what it is. You learn the good and the bad.
Yes. Yes, for sure. So that's where a lot of like, I guess, I never took improv classes or anything, but a lot of my comedy inspiration is like, I guess, improv from my dad, like making up songs on the fly and doing stupid shit. And like my weird sense of humor is sort of like mixed in from like internet culture and I don't know, goof assery is really what it was.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, just being a goofball. Like,
Yeah.
that's half the fun, because it's like being a goofball is such innocent fun.
Yeah.
You're not hurting anyone, and you're just you're kind of just doing it for yourself.
Right.
So it's really, in a way, it's selfish comedy, in my opinion.
yes.
Because no one else really cares, but you're having a good time. So
Yeah, that's a good
I
way
like it.
That's a good way to describe a lot of the like channel stuff that I like. The humping the pole thing, like in my channel, is like that's for me. It's not for everybody else. Like some people
Yeah.
enjoy it, but like the reason why I did it is because I thought it was funny, and it is selfish. So
Exactly.
Yes.
And I like circling back to the oh god, why am I forgetting the name? Whose Line?
Whose Line, yeah.
I listen to the great Greg Proup's podcast, and he often tells jokes, and when he knows they're not gonna land, he goes, "Thank you, that's for nobody." Like it's literally just for me. I just want to say it because it's gonna make me laugh. Like, I don't care what you guys think. This is my I'm doing this for me sometimes too. So
I like it. So Whose Line was primarily it. Where else were you drawing inspiration from? Were your parents also like super well, I guess like the Whose Line thing was the improv. Was that like the spark where you're like, people can just fucking do this shit? Like, that's crazy.
yeah, we're a big TV home. Like, we
Okay.
always loved television and movies and stuff like that. Like, we're just media. The Wertz clan is just media consumers.
Okay.
All we want to do is consume media, because it's like there's so much good stuff out there. Like, you know, my dad would always show me like stand-up stuff, and you know, he was really big into like Jeff Foxworthy and like that whole clan of people. So like, I know most of those albums front to back. Like, we played a
Okay.
bunch of that stuff. And then, you know, my mom really liked her sitcoms, so you got your Will and Grace, like that realm and stuff like that. And we just consumed and consumed and consumed. So it was just like you get to pick anything that you want at that point, and everyone was having a good time, and like
Okay.
you just in different ways. So I learned that like comedy doesn't always need to be on stage with a microphone. Comedy could be in someone's high-rise apartment. Like, it doesn't matter. And like, I think that was a big thing. But I think the biggest thing, once again, was just seeing that advertisement. I don't even remember what it was, if it was in the paper or if it was just like down the street. But like, seeing that, I'm like, you can take classes for this? Like, because no one's ever done, and no one that I know personally like does creative stuff in my upbringing. Like, my parents weren't like that. Like, they just didn't really, they liked to consume and they didn't like to do it. That's nothing wrong with that. But like, I never had that thing to know that I could do something like that. And I just found that advertisement. I'm like, I gotta see what this is. Even though if I suck at it, like, you know, I gotta try it out. Like, why not?
So
And here I am being an improv boy.
you're doing it, Peter. Yeah.
I'm doing it.
So the improv aspect of it, like comedy aspect, being that your parents were like super media people, I'm assuming you guys obviously indulged in this stuff together. It was like a family thing. Was this like during dinner, or like was there specific designated times, or was it just like accepted that if somebody was watching something, like at any point everybody could sit down and like enjoy it with them?
Yeah, it was always like pretty much an open invitation. I
Okay.
think in high school it got a little segmented because I started as a white male into film. I really got into in like indie films and like Garden State and I Heard Huckabees and stuff like that. And like my parents were like, this isn't good. Like, this is sorry, but also the same time they always took me to it. So like my dad went to go see Little Miss Sunshine. My dad took me to go see Little Miss Sunshine. He walked out. He goes, I don't like this, Kyle. I mean, Mayor, I don't like this. This is not good. And like he took me into play. Like they wanted to give it a shot because they kind of wanted to relate to their children. But oftentimes that meant like they kind of had to suffer. Like my mom will always complain about taking us to go see like the first Pokemon movie in theaters.
Same.
Because she was like, all right, we're in the back. She planned the whole thing out. She's like, I don't want to see this movie. You kidding me? It's animated. Who cares? She was like, we're going to plan this out. We're going to get the top row in the corner so I could put on a reading light. I'm just going to read a book for 2 hours. And then about 10 minutes in the movie, there was an usher that came up and told her she couldn't do that. And she has never forgiven me for that for the rest of my life. Once in a while, I'll get it. She'll be like, remember when I took you to go see that stupid Pokemon movie? I'm like, yes, I know. I get it. I had interest. What do you want?
My mom couldn't tough it out. She left. She was like, y'all enjoy this. Like,
I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. It's hard. It's hard to be like, as I'm with our nieces and nephews, like they're younger, so they watch all the young kids YouTube shows and they show them and they're very excited. I'm like, dude, I don't get this. This is just bad.
It's bad.
Just bad stuff.
Yeah.
Just don't like it. It's not. Well, I mean, I guess it's not bad. It's not for me. And that's okay.
Yeah, it's not for you, and that's okay. That's a good way to describe it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna. So I wanted to ask, like, I know. I feel like I keep talking about your parents a lot, but like, was the?
That's fine. They love it. I can't wait to show them this transcript. They're gonna freaking talk about it for weeks.
Well,
thank you.
I'm truly like fascinated on this aspect because like it feels like they were like the driving force in you pursuing a lot of these things. So like, was this something that you were they themselves also funny, like in their own way? Like, were your parents funny, and like that was also like an inspiration for you? Or?
I honestly feel like in my life, everyone is funny. Everyone is funny in their own way.
Sure.
Whether you're an office comedian, you're a stand-up comedian, like everyone's funny in their own ways. I think my parents are very funny in their own ways. My dad's a really good storyteller. My mom just tells random jokes and they're fucking hilarious. I cannot, she is so random on things in her connections and it's so good to me. It makes me laugh so hard. They've always made me laugh, which is super important because I
awesome.
like that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
I can't help it. But yeah, they were always funny in their own ways. You know, my dad liked a lot of like slapstick stuff. Like he loves cartoons. Like
Three Stooges.
He's like the Three Stooges, but he's like when I worked at the movie theater, I would get free tickets a lot, and he would go see every animated movie because he's like, I love like opening weekend, Despicable Me,
This
2,
man?
Kung Fu Panda. He's like, this dude's like 6'5", and he's like, he planned it out. He's like, I'm gonna go. Your mom's not gonna want to go with me. And I'll go during the day so I don't look creepy. Like he's like, I just like cartoons, man. Like it's like I like what I like. Like
That's
I'm
amazing.
not trying to be bad, but yeah. No, my mom was more really liked. I keep going back to Will and Grace because I think that show's really solid. But she likes quick-witted stuff. So I get the best of both worlds and whatnot. So
you're sort of like an amalgamation of those two, and then
I think so.
Improv attached onto that too.
Yeah, and just way louder than they are.
Way louder
than they are. I cannot help myself.
Okay. So the improv classes, how did that go? I mean, I obviously you've never done improv before, so you probably thought you were gonna kill it. I'm assuming.
Oh yeah. So we talked in the pre-show interview that I found myself to be like very cocky and being like, whoa, I can tell jokes around the office. Look at me go. I can make people laugh at school. Like, look, I got jokes for days. Improv's gonna be easy. That first 3 months of improv was terrible. I had a good time, but I was getting my ass handed to me left and right.
Can you elaborate? Can you elaborate that on that a little bit? Like the rules, and what do you mean by like getting your ass kicked? Like what is that? What was that like?
Oh yeah, are we allowed to cuss on this?
Yes, 100%.
For like an hour. I apologize.
Yeah, this is a mature channel.
This was a cuss zone. So basically the idea.
One second.
Yeah, Rob.
We have entered the cuss zone. Wait.
Okay.
We have entered the cuss zone.
Okay,
we are
cool.
free to cuss.
Whew. Okay, cool.
All right, we're good.
Now I'm excited. Freaking heck, bro. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So the first couple of months were bad because they were kind of just beating out the bad habits out of you, which is trying to tell a joke to tell a joke, which is always a problem in improv, because that means you're not thinking of your scene, you're just thinking of how you're going to be able to tell this joke, and you're waiting for someone to stop. You're not living in your zone, you're just kind of observing.
It's like active listening.
Yes. Active listening is basically 90% of improv. Is active listening and then reacting to your active listening abilities. So so that first 3 months is just getting that out of your system. I was telling jokes, and like the teacher would stop the scene and be like, Mayor, stop doing that. Like, you cannot keep telling jokes. Like, we know you have jokes, stop telling them. Like, they don't make sense. You're just throwing, like, it's like that one character in a sitcom that like always has those quips. I'm like, I could be that guy. I could be Mr. Quipster. Like, it's gonna be
Quipster.
great. And in improv, you just they'll kick you out of scenes on purpose to get you out, because they don't want to deal with you because you're a bad wild card. So the first 3 months of that were very rough, but it's like conditioning for a sport. I mean, they had comedy sports in Chicago. I mean, it is a literal sport in understanding of how to use language, movement, and behavior. Like, it's not as physical as like football, but it's still mentally draining. So
would you say that like those would be considered like soft skills, right? So like what your perception of comedy had to be sort of completely altered or destroyed in this aspect. And because of how you were like pursuing your own endeavors, that was probably like your big ego deaths, right?
Yeah, that was probably, as an ego death goes, that was like, oh, you're not funny at all, and no one likes this. Like, no one likes this at all. You thought you were safe?
Did somebody say that? Like, what was your first time getting pulled out? Like, what did that feel like?
Oh, what did it feel? It felt like I didn't know what I was doing with my life. It felt like I messed up the last 10 years of everything I wanted to do. Like, it was a gut punch to me.
And you're paying to be there too, so it's
and I'm giving them weekly allowances, and then afterwards, as a thing, we would go to the bar across the street and talk about comedy still, and I had to stand there and be like, I don't even deserve to be here. Are you kidding me right now? What do I have to say? I can't even. I don't. None of this works.
You're like the kid that like got pulled because he was playing football incorrectly, like from the start, and they were just like, okay, you're gonna sit on the bench the rest of the fucking game. You're watching everybody else play, but we're not gonna like address it. And then like we're gonna all hang out. You know, and you're part of the team, but you were just sitting out.
and that has happened to me before in sports. I was on a track team in maybe middle school, maybe early high school, and all I wanted to do was do the what's the one where you jump over all the things really quickly? Hurdles. I wanted to do hurdles, but I was doing them wrong. Like I found out that I was jumping over them incorrectly. They said I jumped over them like a Street Fighter character, and I said fair, because that's what my jumping inspiration was. I was jumping over them so terribly. They're like, can you please stop doing this? So it's just a lot of thinking that I know. I think it's like it's an ego thing. It's like I think I know
Right.
what I'm doing. I think I got this. And then they're like, no, you don't got this. You don't got this at all. And then let's go talk about it. So yeah, I think that first couple of months was just ego death every single Wednesday night at frickin' 7:00 p.m.
So-
for an hour.
So I'm gonna have a lot of questions related to this, just because it
Of
is
course.
fascinating. So like with
Yeah.
with the improv like ego death. So when they would pull you, would it be like a sudden stoppage? Like they'd be like, all right, Mayor, out of there, swap, and then like you would just never get swapped back in. Like what did that look like?
Okay, so there's different ways of this approach. Sometimes the teacher would often stop it. He would
Okay.
be like, stop it, and then in front of the class, like, Mayor, we know what you're like. He's explaining what I'm doing and why it's not working, which is good because you're learning. But also, I'm in front of a class of 20 people, and I'm like, I felt like I was the only one that was getting yelled at the whole time.
Yeah,
Not
like the
yelled at. Yelled
spotlight
at is incorrect.
is hit. Yeah.
Yep. Boom. I'm the only one that keeps trying to tell jokes. That's it. And so there was a lot of that. Sometimes people try to like get me out of the scene by being like, all right, well, it was really nice that you stopped by. Like, have a good one. Like, all right. And then like
Okay.
at that point, because you're yes anding that situation, which in improv, for those who don't know, the yes and is you're agreeing with the following statement and then you're expanding upon that statement. So then I would agree that it was very nice to see that person again. And then I would also leave. And then I'd probably try to throw a quip at the end because I'm like, well, this is my last opportunity. Because it's like, because you learn improv through Whose Line. And Whose Line is just like jokes.
Yeah.
But they never told you how they got to that point. And it's learning the behavior and the follow through and how that all works. So you can tell jokes like that. Like I feel like I'm at a point right now in my improv. I haven't done improv in a little while now because of the pandemic, but like I'm at that point where I think I could do quips, but they make sense.
They're
which is,
within
I think, is a
context
good
of the
hurdle.
situation and all that. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you
that
don't
makes sense.
try to be funny. They always tell you you shouldn't try to be funny in improv. It should come naturally, and that is true. I think
Okay.
that makes you a better improviser.
Okay. So that makes sense. It's more like authentic in that sort of way. It's sort of you're not like trying to, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like streaming is kind of like that. Like there's a lot, the comedy in streaming is really just like zoom ins. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something now. Look at me, zoom. Yeah, like there's just like there's not really like a setup to it, or it's not within context. Yeah.
And I will admit that I have a Zoom button and I use
Same.
it. I try not to use it very often, but you have to know your audience as well. I feel like that's super important. But you living in Chicago though, like you're kind of at a good hotbed for improv.
100%.
So not only can you see improv, but like those like the IO theater there, a great theater, has improv classes. Would you consider maybe doing something like that when things open back up?
I mean, yeah. I feel like it would greatly help me with just I don't know. I feel like I need an ego death again.
Yeah. What a good way. Did
Yeah.
you not hear what I just said in the last 20 minutes?
Yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah, I'm 31, so it may kill me, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I think another thing that really kind of messed with me too was like, because I had been rapping for a while, like, and I've been on stage and I've been doing shows and like good clubs around Cleveland and whatnot and getting paid for it. And then going to this and doing the same kind of thing and just getting shut down was like, oh shit. I was relying so much on my music, my musicality, my instrumentals, like stuff like that. Cause
Yeah.
like I can't hear the crowd groan at a joke. In improv, it is silent. I've been in terrible improv scenes. I've seen terrible improv scenes, and there's something about watching something being secondhand embarrassed that I cannot find that feeling in my gut any other way. I don't know if you've ever been secondhand embarrassed, but
Yeah.
oh my God, it happens in improv.
It makes
and it hurts.
It's like I don't know. I feel like I want to. it makes you think of cartoons every time. Like you collapse into yourself until you're like nothing.
Yep.
You know, like your arms
Yep.
fold in and like all that shit. That's what it makes me feel like.
And you just
if I had
feel
to
bad
describe
because
it.
you're like, why? Like, I can't help. It's like you can't help, and you have to just watch them like commit just problems on stage. Like,
Yes.
I listened to the Conan O'Brien podcast, and like he always talks about him doing UCB, and whenever there was a bad scene, he couldn't help himself but literally put his hands over his face because he felt that bad, and he could not watch someone go through a terrible improv scene like that, and it makes such a hard thing. But yeah, you should.
But
do
that's
lessons.
important. That's important. I feel like I feel like that's a really important part about just like, you know, comedy in general is you have to put yourself out there in order to be successful. And failure is probably like the biggest part of like understanding what kind of comedy or improv like you're good at. And I mean, I guess, are there different styles of improv like that people are best at or like gravitate towards? Or is it just like the word improv? Like is that the umbrella term and everybody just kind of goes with that?
There are two sets of improv. There's a short form improv that would be your whose line is it anyways. So everything starts with a concept or like a game, as we call them. They have a game to it. So, you know, things from a hat, world's worst, the hoedown, like those are all games. They're all small segments. And then you also have long form improv, which is about a 45-minute set of improv, which is called a herald. Basically what it is a collection of scenes in this 45-minute improv that by the end of the improv becomes a full circle experience, which is in my mind way harder to do and to pull off, and is amazing when it happens, but it fails way more because you're literally working towards it for 45 minutes, and it is. I've seen long form improv where it was literally two guys sitting at a baseball game. They didn't change the scene. It was 45 minutes of two guys talking in a baseball game. It was enthralling. And then I've also seen 45 minutes of improv that I wish I would never have wasted my time. So
the longest 45 minutes of your life.
Oh my God. And like, that's the thing too. Like I make fun of improv a lot because I love it. And I also make fun of things that I very much like because I like poking the holes in things. I think that's important. I think that might be an internet thing. I don't know if you do that at all, but being
100%.
thrown on the internet, all I want to do is find the problems within it. And like, for example, like no one in an improv troupe ever comes on stage normally. It's always way over the top and it's often never funny. They always come up, someone's doing this. I'm like, I hate this. I'm going to make fun of you guys for this. Like, just like, I hate the idea of like, you should be cool, but like, be a good representative. Like, if I saw that as a normal bystander, I'd been like, fuck these guys.
Fuck these
what are
guys.
They doing? Come on.
Come on. Yeah, no, that's
Come
a good
on now.
that's a good reaction for it. I feel like that with the whole improv comedy thing, it's such a fascinating thing. I didn't know that there was sub like genres or like different ways of doing it. What was the most valuable like takeaway that you use with like your content creation and channel? Is it not one thing? Is it like the whole, like what skills you've learned from that, like yes-anding and like?
I think it's the yes-anding. I think it's the going with the flow and understanding that things are out of your control. Sometimes you can control it. Obviously, there are a lot of channels out there that are, this is what we're doing, this is how we're gonna do it, and whatnot. For my channel, I find that to be the opposite. We do have a structure, which is our game. We're going to play a game today, or we are going to cook something today. But within that game itself, things randomly happen. We have many nights that we just go on random YouTube wormholes because I'm like, oh, that's interesting that you said in chat. Like, let's see what let's go into conspiracy theories about Back to the Future predicting 9/11. I could watch that for hours. Are you kidding me right now? It's amazing. And I feel like that's a good thing to have to like stick and move. I feel like is the most important thing to be able to do on Twitch, because things go wrong. whether
Yeah.
it be technical issues, software issues. Bring it back to cooking. Like, things go wrong in cooking. Like, I set a freaking pot holder on fire, and then I pepper sprayed our whole house, like, during a cooking stream one time. Like,
Why?
we were cooking. Why? We were cooking. I was cooking peppers for a chili, and I kept all the seeds in, and it was way too high, and it just traveled through the whole entire house. So, like, I got pepper sprayed technically. Like, when I say pepper spray, I mean, like, not traditional sense, but like, my eyes were red. I was crying. My fiance was like the other side of our house and was crying. Like, we had to open up all the windows. Like, it was bad, but things happen. What are you gonna do?
Well, we learned.
We learned that Mayor needs to pay a little more attention when he deals with hot food. That's
Yeah,
just what
holy
it is.
shit. I didn't even know you could do I didn't now when you say
didn't
that,
know
I'm
you
like,
could-
oh, okay, well that makes sense,
Yeah.
I guess, right? But
I didn't know you could do it until it started getting too late. It still started, and like all of a sudden there's like a little bit of mist in the kitchen. It wasn't going away, and I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
oh no.
and then you're
This
like,
is
why
not
am I
good.
crying?
Yeah, all of a sudden I'm like, man, I keep blowing my nose. That's super weird. Like, yeah, you just don't think of those things. So, yeah,
So
I
it was
think that,
was it the casein? Is that what it's called? Like
I don't even know what it's called. I just know it was hot and it hurt.
yeah, I think it's
But
called
I know,
casein.
I know the seeds are the hottest parts of the pepper. That's the one thing I can tell you.
Casein, casino, hot peppers. Yeah, CASEIN forms. Wait, no. Fat-loving protein. No. Oh, capsaicin? Capsaicin is a chemical component of chili peppers. There it is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the.
That sounds right.
That's the oil. So like, if you get it on your hands, that's why they're like, soap and water isn't enough. Like, if you
No.
go to the bathroom, like, don't touch yourself, or don't touch your
Yeah.
eyes, that sort of thing. That's
I've
crazy.
I've burned my forehead on jalapeno peppers before because of that. So just going, like, cutting a bunch of jalapeno peppers and going, oh, that
my
was a lot
God.
of work, guys. And then all of a sudden my whole forehead started turning red. I'm like, why does it hurt? Why does everything hurt?
This sound you have, the sound alert of like, Mayor, it's burning, like, has so many more useful meanings now because
I know. I know. It was, yeah, that one. I love those sound effects. My channel has been enjoying them quite a bit lately.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too much.
a little too much. Yeah, I was watching you play the Dread X collection, and like, you're shooting the weird turkey thing
Yeah.
that was all connected together, and Mayor, it's burning, and without missing a beat, you're like, nothing's burning. Nothing's burning.
I think they love doing it when it has nothing to do with food.
Yeah.
And they also love doing it when I'm only chopping food, when I'm not cooking anything. It's like, that's the other thing I really like about adding things for chat to do. Really adds to the experience, because that goes back to the improv, is like,
Yeah.
now I have to improv off you guys adding extra layers to things. And I feel like that's like, not years of training, but training in general. You have to know to go with that flow and opening that up. Like, obviously I can only have 5 sound alerts on there like that, so I know what's gonna happen, but it's the timing thing that's always gonna, that's the real comedy bit. When they get a good fart sound out, or they get a really good Merritt's burning, it makes me laugh so hard, because it's like, this is amazing. Like, you couldn't pull this off, because there's so much. There's even, like, in stream, like, there's still a delay. It's a couple
Right.
second delay. So, like, think of that with comedy. Like, comedy is a lot of its timing. So to have that delay and to kind of rely on that delay to hopefully equalize that out is, it's mind blowing to me. I love it.
So would you say that, like, your love for improv and comedy was what led you to streaming? Like, how did you find out about, like, Twitch streaming and decide you were going to pursue it?
So I found out about Twitch streaming from my roommate. He was showing me Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah.
And regardless of what your opinion is of him, he's a very good character.
100%.
And I'm like, this is incredible. I'm having such a good time watching him just be decent at video games and just really committing to his character.
Yeah.
And I was in between improv troops at the time, and I was going out a lot for improv. Like, every Saturday night I was doing improv shows, and I'm like, I need to dial this back. I'm not seeing my friends very much. I'm not seeing my fiance as much. Like, let's switch gears. Let me be home a little more. Try this for a little bit. And I can play I can play games, and I'm a little bit of a workaholic. So I get to combine playing video games with my friends, which I love to do, and then also work. Because it's technically networking and it's technically advertising. So I can combine those two things into streaming for me. And I'm like, this is the golden goose. This is what I've always wanted. Like, are you kidding me right now? This is a thing.
Yeah.
Like, and once again, until someone showed me, I had no idea what it was. Are you kidding me? Like, that's not something I would even think would be a possibility. Like, I didn't even watch people play games on YouTube because I just didn't care. Because I'm like, there's no interaction. I don't like just watching things.
Right.
I want to interact. I want to participate. Even though, improv, you throw out suggestions and whatnot, but that's still participation.
Yes.
Like, that's what I like about it. So, yeah, I think, just starting out, just not knowing. And I used to just play shooters. I played PUBG. I played Rainbow Six. Anything with a gun in first person, I was playing. So, and now I don't play any of that stuff. I can't help it.
Well,
It's
I mean,
not
you got
good. It's not good content.
Yeah, but it would. Well, I feel like it depends on like how it works, right? And so like it's not conducive to improv. Like unless I guess you could do it. I don't know. There's ways to do it, but like there are things that just kind of feel right and fall into place, and a lot of that really comes down to like leaning into that improv muscle you're trying to work out all the time, you know? So like the games that are more ambiguous or give you some issues or like maybe not the best games, like those will give you more room to sort of, flex that improv muscle and allow chat to participate into it like as well without feeling like they're interrupting anything.
Exactly. That's why I love the chat feature, because it's like, I never want to have anyone feel like they're interrupting. I feel like they're part of the conversation. Like, I think you do a really good job with that too, like having the viewer call-ins. I think that's a super cool concept, because it's like you're hanging out with your buddy and someone's just playing a game. Because I've done that in college where we just I watched my buddy play Legend of Zelda. I don't give a shit about that game.
Yeah.
It's a kid with a sword dancing around. I don't know what he does. I don't know what the goal is. I don't care.
Yeah.
But my buddy's here and he's loving it, and I can just chit chat while I'm drinking a Labatt Blue. Are you kidding me? It's such a good. So yeah, I have to commend you on that, because it is such a cool. And I don't see a lot of people do that, because normally people have call-ins like we're doing now, and it's like very focused. But it's kind of like you have this chill atmosphere about your channel. And I wish I was here more, and I really apologize. But
not
at all.
It's the same. Like, it's the same for me.
I watch the VODs.
It's the same.
I have you on my work computer the next day, going like, cool. Wow. I get to hear you talk about your conversations and stuff. I think that's super fun. Like, it's good working. Good. I'm like a dog. I need to have like people like will put like the radio on for their dog. Like, I need that like all the time. Like, I need to have. I'm such an extrovert.
Background noise. Yeah.
I need to have noise. I need to have something going on. And like, that's why I like the conversation, because I think the chatting of that is really cool. So I commend you for that.
Yeah, that was that was something that I don't know. Talking has always been like my strong suit. I don't know. I don't think it came from my parents. I think it was just honestly like I probably came from my dad being a goof ass and whatever, and like seeking attention. But a lot of that was just like 10 years of retail, and like you learn. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it honestly came from like my Apple Store experience, and like doing that for I was doing that for like 3.5 years. And you talk to, depending on like launch days and shit, you talk to like more than 100 people a day. And it was just, I thought it was really weird how, like, depending on how I navigated the conversation, people would just be really ultra uncomfortable with me, and it was really fucked up. They would be like open up to me about some shit. I'm like, dude, I have been talking to you for 15 minutes. I can't give you advice on your kids. What the fuck are you talking about? Like,
they're not coming back. I don't know. Like, what, are you gonna buy this iPad protection plan or not?
Buy this fucking iPad. Get this Apple Care. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Well, that's a good sign that you should be a Twitch streamer, and being that ability to talk is such a hard thing to teach. And I think that just only comes with experience, and like having that person open up to you in 15 minutes means that like you're approachable, and two, you're asking the right questions. Like, I feel like that always, you're always, I think we all had that in retail at some point, someone being very open and honest, and I'm like, I don't need this, but like, I unlocked that key. I got that peg through that hole. Didn't mean to, but here we are now. And now I know about your dead dog. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I really
enjoy your new Apple
this.
Watch. Have a great day. Like, dude, that's fucking weird, dude. Yeah, there's a lot of wholesome moments and stuff too, of course. But like, I've got plenty of messed up stories that like happen from working that job. And
What's like one of the worst?
easily
TOS,
the
of
butthole
course.
story. Easily the butthole
Okay.
story.
Okay.
I've told this story before, but we've got new people here, so I'll tell all of you. So, it's about. So my career or whatever at Apple at this point, I'm like 3 years in. So right
Okay.
on the last end before I leave to go to a different job. So I'm experienced as fuck. Like I wasn't a genius. Everybody asked that, but I was what was considered an expert, which is a person that just sells a lot of stuff and is very quick.
Okay.
So I know what questions to ask about like products, and I know how to help people is the bit. So it's
Okay.
around like 8 p.m., which is usually when people would come in. We were located in a mall, and we would have people come in from dinner because there was restaurants all around in the mall that they would get dinner, and then they would like either wait for the reservation in the store and fuck around, or they would come afterward. And this couple had like dinner reservations, and they were like, hey, super unassuming couple. They were like in their 60s or so, Midwestern
perfect.
looking, and their question or what they wanted to do was to have it like what the lady explained to me was like, when we get texts from our grandkids, we want to be able to get it on both our phones. And I was like, okay, I know how to do that. That's something that we can
Okay.
easily set up. They just need the same Apple ID. Super simple. It's just like a settings change. So during this whole process, like the way I'm holding the phone and instructing them to do it is like this. We're looking together, okay? I'm never holding the phone like this where nobody knows what's going on. And
Yeah.
before I do anything, I'm always asking permission. That's the whole thing. Permission
Yeah.
to go into the settings, permission to go into an app, and depending on the application, I ask more than once because you gotta be careful. Everybody's had that instance in the Apple store where they asked once, the person said, yeah, no problem. And you open it, and then you're like, fuck, you're embarrassed, I'm embarrassed, this conversation's done. So
You're not getting that Apple protection plan. You want to leave.
So, this lady, she explains what they want to do. I'm like, okay, perfect. Is it okay if I go into your settings? Cool, awesome. Is it okay if I go into your settings? Okay, cool, awesome. So I set them up both. I get a loaner phone from the back. I text the phone, thinking that they're both going to get the text messages, and he's fucking around on his phone. So like his notification doesn't go off, and she's like, well, like it went off on my phone, but it didn't go off on his. I'm like, okay, cool. So we verify that his settings are fine. His text messages look okay. And then, again, every time before I even open the text message to check if he received the text message, it was like, is it okay if I open your text messages? Are you sure that it's okay for me to open your text messages? And again, we're both looking at the phone like this. Okay, we're both looking at it.
No.
So I ask her twice before I open her text messages. And as you know, with most smartphone devices, when you open the text message or application, it takes you to the previous thing you were doing. And
The previous conversation.
yes. So it was a picture of her, and I know it was her because I could see her hair, and there was enough time for it to happen. She was spreading her asshole. And he took the photo. And so like I see it in it's like a half, not even a full fucking second, okay? Ask twice, open it, full spread asshole, go back, and I hand them their phone, and I make eye contact with her, and I don't say anything. I said, I think I solved your problem. And both of us, like that extra 2 seconds of like eye contact was literally just like, I know what your asshole looks like, lady.
Yeah. Wow. I gotta say, I don't really know most people's assholes.
I was questioning my entire fucking life after that. I was like, when's the last time I've seen my own asshole? You know what I mean?
Did you go on? I would go on break immediately after that. But like,
I did.
I need 30.
So-
I need 35. Okay, Greg. I
So
want 35.
So I walk in back, and I'm sitting. I walk in, open the door, and I immediately sit down, and I'm just like with my hands in my fucking head like this. And my friend Lee, who hosts the XP Talk Show with me on occasion, he sees me, and he goes, dude, are you okay? And I was like, I just saw some lady's asshole, dude. And he goes, what? The fuck? And I explained to him the story or whatever, and he just like hugged me like I was an injured like person.
Dear.
Yeah, a deer. Yeah, he just like grabbed me, and he was just like, dude, take as much time as you need. And he went to go close, so he's like wiping shit down and all that. It was crazy. I was like one of the.
Did you get dinner with them afterwards? Is what Bipsy was asking. That's fucking great. That's so fucking funny.
Bipsy, that's. All right, fuck you. Okay.
It wasn't like one of those like weird like couples picking up a random single at a bar situation.
Well, they may have been gauging me. I don't fucking know, dude. I'm not okay with it.
Depending on how your reaction was, you could have got down with some AARP members.
They were
got you discounts.
They were so unassuming. It was like,
that's the best.
Yeah, it was wild. Like we're talking about like at least like right. Like 60s ish with like the Midwestern attire with like a polo striped, like she had like, you know, she didn't even have like a dress on or anything. It was like summer clothes, but it was like what a Midwestern, you know, woman would wear. Like you just, if I just give you that vague description, there's thousands of outfits.
I know exactly. Yeah. I can see Jim and Nance pretty
Jim and
clearly.
Nance. Yeah, exactly. Like those are totally names that could have been them for sure. I don't even know their names, but I know what that woman's looks like, and I know what her asshole looks like. It's forever etched into my mind.
Yep, that's not gonna be. Yeah, that's never gonna leave. And that's, I gotta tell you, that's something to behold. That's such a weird. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Eye of the beholder, I guess, right?
I guess so. Oh my god.
Okay. Sorry, I said that.
That was a great story. That was a great story. That was perfect.
Yeah. But that's pretty much, that was like, I've got a few other stories like that. That is like the peak time because I was so betrayed. I just sighed very deeply. Like for that half second, it was just like butthole and then like close phone, give the phone. And I was like, we know, both of you and me know. And we talked about this in chat, like every time I bring it up, but I'm like, if I ever see her again, I kind of want to do it out of context. I just be like, I know what your asshole looks like, lady. And then just keep going.
I think that's therapeutic. I feel like that's like,
it's closure,
you know,
almost. It's like that ex-girlfriend that like broke up with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you finally send her like one last text message, like this is all the shit you did, and then just like block her number and be like, I'm done skis. Like that's
except it's in
that's
person.
Your final.
Yeah, and I'm like, I saw your asshole, and then like,
and then run away. We're like, we're at.
No, I will
Panera
just walk
Bread.
confidently away. Yeah, at a Panera Bread, drinking their fucking coffee. That's exactly where they would be too. You know.
Oh yeah.
Did I get closure? I
mall.
didn't, Foxy. I didn't get closure. So maybe that's on my bucket list. Tell that butthole lady I saw her butthole and look at her husband like, how dare you do that to me?
How dare you? Yeah. How dare you set me up?
Yeah.
How dare you set me up for that? Jesus.
I think this is a good point to get into the Q&A. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And if anybody has any questions during this time based on all the conversation, that's not butthole related, but if you want to talk about streaming or anything like that, you're more than welcome to. I've got one question from Kazumi, who has the better facial hair between the two of you. That's a good question.
Ooh, it's you, because you got it's the brown. My hair is like it's too dark. It's too dark sometimes. Like you, it just works. It just works.
I would say that you've got the better facial, like cheeks and everything, but I would agree. I think I have a better mustache.
You're killing in the mustache game. This is my first mustache ever. No,
and
that's
it's
a lie.
great.
I had a mustache for just a little bit in high school, but I looked like I touched children when I had it, so we cut that off immediately.
Oh God.
So now it doesn't look that bad. But yeah, I agree, because yours had, like, mine just kind of, as you can see, just kind of like goes out. It's horizontal. Like yours is like, they look like little orange slices. Like they look like little tangerines. Yeah, like I just get a little nibble after like a soccer game.
Yeah,
like I was a kid. Like that's what it reminds me of.
My mustache looks nutritious, packed with vitamin C. Does anybody have any other questions based on like the conversation we had? Mayor, if you have anything you want to talk about, I mean, we're kind of like in the open space right now. Like, what questions do you have? The open range
season.
Yeah.
I like hearing the retail stories, because like that stuff always is like, is so interesting, and everyone's got like one or two really, really good ones. So if you have any like interesting retail stories, that's what I like to hear about.
I got another one. Yeah. This is another Apple Store story. So this was on like a very busy day, and this panicked man is like coming up, and he's like got his laptop bag with him. And he's like, I need help. And I'm like, okay, what do you need help with? And he's like, my iPads. I can't put any more stuff on my iPads. And he's saying it like very panicked. And so which is a red flag automatically.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm like, okay, cool. So like, I'll get your name down. And this was the worst. Cause like I was the person who was like on point, right?
Okay.
And so I'm the person who's like putting people in line. And during this time, I'm covering for somebody. So like as soon as that person comes back, guess who's got to go in the fucking queue of people to like help out? It's me. So I'm like, oh, this guy's all red flags. And like, as soon as I finish putting his name in and tell him where to stand, the person comes back like onto point to like take over for me. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go help this guy. It's probably going to be a while. And so, yeah, I go over to him and he's like, yeah, I don't have any storage. Like I've got my laptop here if we need to do anything with it. But like, I've got all my iPads. They're just filled. I don't understand why they're filled. Like they're filled. And I'm like, okay, cool. So is it okay if I go into the settings? Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's
you got any
questions
butthole pictures in there, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't ask those specific questions, but yeah, I just asked permission to go into the settings, and I'm like, okay, these are 128 gig iPads, which were at the time like $1,100 each, and he had 4 of them. The storage was completely filled. And so like the way, for anybody who's unfamiliar with Apple products, they have filled with coughs. Yeah. So the way they have it color coded in the settings is it lets you know if it's storage that's like from applications and color coded, all that stuff. If it's from a computer, meaning like they place it on there, it's designated as other. Okay. All of these iPads were filled to the brim with other, and it was all organized porn. All of it. All of it was organized. Like this man's like trying to show me. Like, he's okay, well, I mean, I was like, okay, well, you have everything's in your photos. Well, he's like, yeah, I know. And he's like going into his iPad and tapping photos. And you can see like the girl's like picture and like the album organized by name and all that shit. And he starts to go into the albums. And I'm like, sir. And I'm like, there's kids here. It's fucking 12 p.m. on a Saturday in a mall. And like,
that is not optimal porn watching time right now.
It's not
sir.
time for this. And so like I'm literally like taking the device from him, which is like, okay, I don't know where these have been now. You know what I mean? And I'm like closing the apps and giving him his iPads.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, you need to help me. And I was like, I cannot help you. I cannot help you. I am not the person to help you. And he's like, but I need help. And I'm like, you do need help, but not here. You cannot be here. And he's like, why not? And I'm like, there are children here. It's Saturday. Do you not see all these people around you? The stuff that is on this iPad is not appropriate to be in this space. And so like, it didn't like take for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized I was talking to somebody who just like he just didn't have that conversation with people like ever in his life. And I'm the person, the Apple Store employee who doesn't get paid enough to have the conversation with them right
you're
there.
Like, I don't know. This is not worth it. Going on break again.
Yes.
So
I was flabbergasted. I was like, if you really need help, what you need is an external hard drive, and that's where you should be putting all this stuff, and not on these iPads. Like, if you're really serious about, like, you know, clearing the space, he's like, okay, thank you. And I was like, I will sell you this hard drive. You cannot do this shit here.
You can't do it here.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna transfer anything. Also, why did he have 4? Do you ever get why he had 4 iPads?
My guess is that he filled the first one up, and he's like, I'll just buy another one.
That's terrible.
It is terrible, but that's my guess.
That's so expensive.
Did you take his device away? No. Like the only time, so just full transparency for any. Yeah, I know, dude. $1,100 at the time, and he had 4 of them, and like he probably filled he filled them up. He filled the first one up. He's like, well, I guess I got to get another one, and he just bought 4 of them. They were all different colors. And I was like, dude, at least you're organized, right? But
so they're color coded for his mood and day, probably.
I have no idea.
Or genre.
I don't know, but I washed my hands for at least like 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be screaming.
Yeah, that was the second like thing that pops into my mind. But yeah, did you take his device away? Yeah, so like that question, no, like you can't. It's porn, so we can't confiscate a device if it's like, you know, child stuff. That has happened, unfortunately. Like while I was working, and you call the police, and then, you know, like that's a really fucking that's a heavy situation, because more often than not they're there with their family. And it's like, now your dad's getting arrested or your mom's getting arrested, and they're like, that is, and we know why. Like, and it's really messed up, especially when like when it's taken, when the computer or device is taken in the back, and like we have to work on it, and it's just like, well, we weren't intending to find this, but like there it is, you know.
There it is. Like you agreed and whatnot. And I will say, as a person who used to work at Best Buy, not in the Geek Squad, I just sold computers, but I know that Geek Squad has a tendency of finding all those files, and the good and bad ones. Yeah. And they will take them. So be very wary when you go into Geek Squad. Yeah. They love photography.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's really gross.
Blah. Yeah. I mean, if y'all want a wholesome story, I had like one of my first like setups, or like my first iPad setup, was this older woman who she bought an iPad like a couple years prior, and it was like an older iPad that like was still in box and wrapped. And she just came into the store one day, and she's like, I'm looking for help, you know, to get this set up. I was like, oh, this looks pretty old. Like, can I ask like why you're coming in to get it set up now? And she goes, well, my husband passed, and this was his gift for me the year he died. And I just haven't, you know, I haven't had the like wherewithal to like get here and do this. And so we set up her iPad and like set up a Facebook account, and her first Facebook profile picture like ever, creating a Facebook profile picture account, was with me in the Apple Store.
That's
like,
adorable.
Setting it up, and she's like, "Can we add my family and all that?" She had
that low angle and everything.
It was like that, you know, like yeah.
There's these commercials that I see on Hulu a lot. It's do you have Hulu?
Yeah.
The commercials that are going around right now is like the one guy who is training millennials not to be their parents. And do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't seen
Where they go to like a Home Depot, and the guy is like walks into a random guy, you're like, oh, this is really good brush. He's like, did he ask you about the brush? Or like there's another one where he's like, the plumber's there and he's fixing the sink, and he's like, oh, you're doing a really good job. He's like, no, you paid him, you don't have to talk to him about anything. But like the one big one, they're at a conference, and someone pulls out an iPad and like takes a picture of the stage, and I'm like, I hate that.
I hate it.
Anyone who goes in public and takes a photo with an iPad, I want to crush it. I want it to die.
It's even worse when they have like the fucking big flap thing. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Yes, and it's obnoxious.
I've seen that at concerts. Why?
Why?
How are you holding an iPad? What are you doing?
What are you doing with an iPad at a concert? When you were going to the concert, the first thought was like, better bring my iPad just in case. Like,
yeah, my phone doesn't do photography.
God
damn
it.
Cool beads. I saw a question in chat. I would like you to answer.
Oh, sure.
If you were unable to continue streaming suddenly, how would you fill that void?
Podcasting, easy.
Yeah.
I've actually been thinking about doing
podcasts?
that too. No, but they will be.
Okay.
This year, I'm going to be starting with Buzzsprout. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they're essentially like, they give you 2 hours a month to like upload.
That's
so
cool.
I was gonna start doing that.
Nice.
But they're on YouTube. But yeah, it would be. That's a good question. I would say podcasting would definitely be my my thing. I'm thinking about actually doing that like now, not doing an online format with certain content creators, because I know that getting people on the show and talking with people is like kind of weird, because I don't want anybody to get the impression that I want to have them on the show to take anything from them. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Yeah, so there's some content creators where I'm like, I would totally confidently speak to you, but now I'm like worried about what you think my agenda
Intentions are.
and intentions. Yeah, exactly. So
I get that. Yeah, and like also like, you know, going back to the podcast, it's such a good format to do what you want, and it's not
Yeah.
live, so you can edit stuff out, and that's good and whatnot. But I always feel like the problem is the scheduling, is to get
Yes.
someone to sit down and do a podcast with you, and that's why I like the Twitch stuff, because it holds you accountable towards it. Like I've done 2 podcasts in my day. They cease to exist anymore, but like that was always the biggest thing, is like finding a guest and then preparing them and having them understand the format and then having them show up. You're just like, let's just see what happens. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah. I guess I didn't really have that in the past. I do have a podcast that's still on iTunes where it was like me, my sister, and my friend James, who I'm still like, we're still best friends. That was just like it was technically like an improv sort of setup where we would have like kind of like we had like I made some stupid song in GarageBand called like That Time at School, and like I'm like,
Okay.
oh, it's now time for that time at school, and we would just talk about a time at school that was like super fucking stupid. Like my friend Sam, this is such a weird name too. It sounds like a made up name, Sam Fazioli.
Okay, that's an FBI related name.
Yeah, you're not a real person. You're a police officer. You know, like
It's definitely, that's a name that I'd either call that person by their last name or say their full name. Never,
Yes.
I would never call them Sam.
yes,
That's like just one of those perfect names in my opinion.
agreed. Yeah, it's like it's perfectly said. That's a dope ass name. Yeah, agreed. But yeah, there's one time like where we were in gym class and it was one of those like they made us change into our gym clothes even though we only had 15 minutes of gym, which was weird, like a half day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you had to get a grade, and the grade was like, did you wear your uniform? And was stupid. But anyway, we're all sitting in the gym floor, like just fucking around, like talking. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing, and we were required to sit in like straight lines for whatever reason. And
Sure.
for whatever reason, everybody's talking, the gym's loud and shit, and then like it gets dead fucking quiet for no reason. Like I think somebody like slammed a ball or like some weird sound happened that was like everybody just shut up. And then
Yeah.
the loudest fart I've ever heard, like ass cheeks pressed against like gym
Oh.
floor.
Oh,
And
the
it
gym
was-
floor is
yes.
it's so perfect for that.
Yes.
It's so good for that.
Yes, and it was clearly only Sam Fazioli who did it. And he was
Sam.
he was just so pissed. Everybody like erupted in laughter, but he was so mad. And he was a ginger kid too, so like his skin turned red. Like and it was
Oh.
the worst for him. But he was so mad. He's like, "Why did everybody shut the fuck up? Why did that happen?"
Oh, that's beautiful. It
was a beautiful moment.
That's gotta be years of problems for Sam.
I don't know if anybody ever talked about it, but it's burned in my memory. That shit was so funny.
Oh my god,
yeah.
that's amazing.
What is the difference between a podcast and a talk show? Well, a podcast is all audio format based. A talk show, I think, is a little bit more up to interpretation. So, like, I would consider this a talk show.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
There's a back and forth.
Yeah, and
There's
also an
kind
audience.
of segments. Yeah, and there's an audience.
Right?
I'm assuming the audience the whole time has just been clapping nonstop. That's
Yeah.
what I'm just. Whenever I'm streaming, I just assume in between you guys typing stuff, you're just round of applause for Mayor. Round of applause for Conky all the time.
Yeah.
Like go, you guys go. Content machines.
Yeah. He probably gets acupuncture in his intestines so he can never has to fart again. Is that a thing?
I don't. That sounds right. You could take fart pills. I've done that before. It's pretty great. Those things
Wait,
work.
what? They do?
You could just you could I don't take them anymore, but I used to take like basically like Gas X, and it works. I was like, there's no way this works. This is like a gimmick. And then I'm like, all right, it's $2. Let's see what happens. It just works just fine. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know how it works. I'm not a doctor. I'm only a mayor.
That's true. You're only a mayor. That's
right.
a really good like default phrase to come back to if you ever like mess up badly.
Yeah. No one expects a mayor to do good. I don't know about you, but my mayor in Cleveland is terrible.
Same.
He's a terrible human being who barely can do his job but keeps getting reelected, and I think this is the year he's finally getting dethroned. Like I could legitimately run for mayor and do better, and I don't know anything about taxes or city systems.
Yeah. What's a
Like,
city?
it's-
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know. It's like just lines. It's just lines. But yeah, it just mayors are inherently not good people, I guess, in real life. But in the internet space, the best kind of people, in my opinion.
Especially the Wertz kind.
Especially the worst kind.
Yeah.
Start and stop.
Yes.
That's a very small list.
I feel like Bipsy kind of summarized what mayors are for. Like, I forget mayors are a thing, you know?
Yeah. they're forgetful until you see the signs.
Yeah.
You see the signs up in the lawn. You're like, oh,
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
I guess it's time for re-election. I guess I'm not gonna vote again.
Oh shit, there's a
'Cause
mayor.
it's always inconvenient.
Yeah. It's like, who's that Pokemon? But it's with the mayor every year. Or
Yeah, and they're like, oh
How
yeah,
often?
they're a person.
yeah. How often is a mayor elected?
Oh, geez.
Once every 4 years, like the president. Okay.
Wow.
I did not know that.
I had no idea.
I thought it was a shorter term for some reason. I thought it was like maybe every 2 years.
I thought it
or
was like
something.
2. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was 2. So shows
Yeah.
how much I know about my own job. I keep getting reelected though.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't even vote for me, and I keep getting reelected.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works, but no one's kicked me out yet. So
That's good.
I feel like that's important.
I'm glad we got a mayor on Twitch though. That's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think if Twitch will allow me the platform to continue to be the mayor, and I can work with Twitch, I could run a town hall for Twitch.
Well, you're
Oh,
an
that sounds like
extremely
such a
likable
shit show.
person, so you'd be fine. You'd be
I
fine.
try, and then we'll just have to deal with Twitch chat, which is such a beautiful monstrosity, and I absolutely love it.
Not so likable.
It's not, they're not so likable, but it's beautiful. Like I love Twitch chat on stuff. Like when all the election stuff happened, man, the fact that like they were streaming on Twitch, I'm like, this is the greatest day of my life. I'm gonna watch Twitch chat just ream these people. Didn't matter what side, didn't matter. Twitch chat has one goal, is to ruin people who shouldn't be on Twitch, and they do it every time.
They do it.
And it's beautiful. It's a collective of people that just crush, and it's absurd and insane. And that's why I always feel really weird when like celebrities get, like Jimmy Fallon got on last week to do Among Us with a bunch of people, but like they didn't do basic mod settings, and they were just messing with them in chat the whole time. It's like, do a little bit of research, please. Like this has been around for what, since Justin TV, so what, 8 years, 10 years
Yeah.
maybe? Like,
And they didn't
read a
consult
book?
anybody either. Well, you know.
Yeah, like there's gonna be one person on your staff, Jimmy Fallon, that like has heard of Twitch.tv.
Probably
like-
not. You know, he laughs at his own jokes, so
I'll never forget. There was one time in high school where we bought our friend a Best of Jimmy Fallon DVD for his birthday, and he wouldn't talk to us for a week. It was
funny.
a good week. We
like
just
that.
thought we saw it at the local Suncoast or FYE, whatever your flavor is,
Yep.
and we're like,
Sam Goody.
it's half off. Yeah, Sam Goody. There you go. It was half off, and we just gave it to him and he just was so pissed.
Oh my god.
I've never seen someone so mad at a gift before.
Especially with
Oh,
everybody
God.
encouraging him, like, look at what we got you.
Cause like that was the age of SNL when like when you broke, that was like the joke. Like
Yeah.
that was the punchline when you screwed up. Which, you know, sometimes I guess that's fine. It is what
Yeah.
it is. It happens in improv. I do it in improv sometimes. I try my best not to, but sometimes you can't help it. Some things are just fucking funny.
Yeah.
You can't, and you have to laugh.
And it does enhance it sometimes, but when you're a habitual breaker,
Like look at the camera,
Yeah.
like kind of thing. I hate
Yeah.
that stuff. I'm like, you just don't care. But also, like, I know at that point probably SNL was like, that was like post Will Ferrell and stuff, so there were like a little bit of a decline. It was
Yeah.
before the Lonely Island era, Fred Armisen, stuff like that. So it's like they had to try whatever, and like that was getting the most buzz. So like, I know they told him to do that all the time. You could tell. He did
Yeah.
it like twice an episode. Like they just did what they had to do. I was more of a Mad TV person. I don't know about you.
Same. Yeah, Mad TV was more accessible. Like it was on all the time. What was Will Sasso is a comedy legend. Like I
my
really
God.
love that guy. His Instagram is amazing. Have you
I'll
watched?
have to find that.
There-
That sounds amazing.
I have some videos bookmarked because, like, dude,
just
they're
a good time.
dude. He's just like there's a video of him like I'll send it to you. But for everybody,
Yeah.
just for context, I guess he's doing like a Jerry Seinfeld bit, and he's just walking around town, and he's like, "Look at that awning." He keeps saying it, but like as the video progresses, he's not even saying the word awning anymore. It's just some weird like
Variation.
Yeah, like it's not even words. It just like turns into like blah. And the whole time he's walking around with another comic who is like dying laughing, and he just keeps zooming in as he's like wheezing and like not fucking. It's so great.
God, Will Sasso doing Kenny Rogers and Kenny Rogers Jackass is. I still, my fiance Ash and I always still say, like, I was raised on the dairy, bitch. Like, we can't stop saying it. It's such a big, and like, I feel like when we go back to comedy, like, that's what that was another thing my mom showed me was Mad TV. My dad did not like it. He did not think that was funny.
Oh,
my
man.
mom loved it. And we watched so much of Mad TV. Like Stewart and like some of that stuff nowadays doesn't super fly. But at the time it did, and that's okay. I mean, it is what it is. We have to understand that things change.
Yes.
And, SNL also did some bad things too. But
you can see it's like it's a time period thing. Like it was just like socially acceptable for that to be a funny thing,
Oh, yeah. But I loved Mad TV.
Kenny Rogers, That's
the
such
Kenny
a
Rogers
good bit.
Jackass where he just like, they just throw a bat in his face. It's so funny.
Yes.
It's so good. It's so simple.
Yes. Yeah, Miss Swan would not fly today, 100%. Yeah.
I still think is funny. I will admit that it still makes me laugh, but it's more of like me taking back to that realm when I first saw it.
Right.
I was like, cool. Like this makes me happy. This takes me back to a time in my life. I'm into this, but I also know like it's like we're well aware. You can still appreciate things to a certain extent, in my opinion. Regardless of how they turn out in the future. It is what it is. There's always gray areas and exceptions to the rule, and I think that's more of a personal thing. Like I think that other people would say that Miss Swan should never be on YouTube or celebrated at all. I don't think they should be celebrated, but I do enjoy it still. Can't help it. Some people will defend a Woody Allen film or a Louis C.K. thing. It's like I do find him funny, but it's like there's always lines to things, and I think everyone's got their own goalpost they want to move. So that's a whole another can of worms.
Well, comedy, a lot of it's like subjective, right? And like I don't know.
Yeah,
it's there's like the whole Chris D'Elia thing that happened recently, and like Louis C.K. and I feel like those were the two big ones that I can recall, like right off the top of my head.
Yeah,
that
and there
were
was
like
Kevin Hart was a couple years ago.
Yeah, Kevin Hart
too. That was a big thing. Yeah, so
but
it's like,
but I don't know necessarily like how that like affects the art of it. I think like I was talking about this recently with a couple of friends about how like. Some depending on how egregiously like bad it is, it taints the work so much that it's like not digestible anymore. And in other times, like you were saying, there's a gradient to all of this, right? So like the more extreme it is, the more like, okay, well it's not even like a forgiveness thing. Like I can just appreciate the work for what it is and not factor in the person. And like if they're still profiting from it, like it depends again, like the grade of what happened, and
it depends on what your attachment is to that too.
Right.
It's like a lot of people, Bipsy brings up like Aziz Ansari. That was like a big thing too, and just like it's it all depends. I don't think that anyone's 100% right. I don't think anyone's 100% wrong. I think it's just a personal taste thing. And as you said, comedy is subjective. There's a lot of comedy out there that I don't like Jeff Foxworthy anymore. I used to as a kid all the time. You kidding me? Setup punchlines were great. He's a good writer. But I just don't like it anymore. Or even like Jeff Dunham. Like that's, the old grandpa thing was hilarious. I'm sorry. It's still pretty good.
I agree.
Jalapeno on a stick, not so much. The monkey, pretty good. The skeleton Taliban guy, not so good.
That was like, I feel like comedy had like a really big like peaking thing with like Dane Cook, and like Dane Cook is one of those examples where like it's not funny anymore to me. You know what I
No.
mean? Like,
But at
that's
that
not,
time, it was great.
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
good. That's how, comedy evolves with the time and technology and
Right.
understanding of culture. I mean, it happens in film, it happens in music and in everything. And like back in the day, like we were going through some CDs the other day up in our attic, and we found like an OG Dane Cook. I'm like, I don't think I could even stomach this. I don't think I could even pull that. Like, I want to listen to it again, but there's some timeless stuff. Like, I can listen to Mitch Hedberg talk and do
100%.
jokes all the time. I would almost say I can daily hear his jokes.
Yes.
Because that means so much to me as a person. Like, that holds up. But that was more of like a setup punchline. That wasn't really like Dane Cook was more, it worked because of MySpace, and it worked because of marketing, and it worked because of it was so different and interesting. And
Yeah.
Mitch Hedberg
he
just
was
told
loud
jokes.
all over
It's-
the stage. Like, it was like,
Yeah,
it was a spectacle almost.
He was moving and grooving,
And
like
sweaty
yeah,
as
the-
fuck. Yeah.
I gotta give him credit. Like that whole thing, like him being on stage, it was just a circle, and then he'd go around that way. Genius, absolutely genius of a
Yeah.
stand-up comedy routine. Are you kidding me? Great. Can't do it now. I just don't. I
No.
don't think it works. But I like the simple setup punchline kind of stuff. I like the simple ones too. I like Mike Birbiglia, great
Phenomenal storyteller. Yeah.
But then I also just like Anthony Jeselnik. He tells the worst mean jokes, and they're just so good and they're so crafted. But I know they can be horrible sometimes.
I'm
Sometimes
not actually
about child death.
I've never actually listened to him. I guess like maybe comedy is something that I need to get back into, because like right now I really only know about like Bill Burr, I guess, is like the quote unquote newest comic that I've listened to, but he's not new. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no, he's been around for ages.
yeah, he's been around
But
for a
he's
long
still
time.
good.
Yeah,
He's still good.
Would you have any comedians that you would recommend that I should check out?
Oh boy, Anthony Jeselnik, Kyle Kinane, Maria Bamford.
Kyle Kinane's from Chicago. I do know him. Yeah.
Okay, he is from Chicago. Yeah, Mike Birbiglia, you already had that. I like Greg Proops' stand-up. If you can handle a little more political stand-up, he's a little preachy. But I do like him. I'm trying to think. Let's see here. I'm trying to pull up like a Spotify thing real quick, because I'll throw like random jokes in there.
Hannibal Buress. That's another comic that I
Hannibal-
really enjoyed. Yeah.
I like Hannibal Buress. No, like even going back to like Brian Regan's, I think is pretty solid.
Brian
Trying to
Regan.
think here.
Yeah, that's a dude I haven't listened to in a while.
I liked Tig Notaro's new set. I thought that was pretty good.
Mike Birbiglia is really good.
Nate Bargatze is pretty solid as well.
Nate
That's just-
Bargatze.
Yeah, I like that one. I'll have to like type out.
I
I
got
really
it.
like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just kind of just depends. Like depends on what I'm feeling. Sometimes I want the long form stuff. Sometimes I just want short, stupid jokes.
Yeah.
'Cause I just want to laugh. So
Mike Wazowski. Shut up, Zeus. God,
God
damn it.
Zeus, get out of here. You're a
I feel
robot.
like I need
You
to
already know
spray
this.
bottle you sometimes. I swear to God.
I know. He's good at he's good at
He's
coming
very
in
good at
at the right times.
Don't fucking D-colon me, dude. Fucking. God damn it. Every time he fucking gets me with that shit.
I know.
What?
He's good at the internet. He
Zeus
gets
is
the internet
25.
points.
You can leave him alone.
Yeah, he's 25 now, so he's a big boy.
Not 12.
He's a big boy.
Did you hear about that? How he got his old account banned?
No.
Okay, so his old account, he got banned because he said I'm 12 in somebody's chat and they reported him.
Oh, yep. I remember that now. Yep.
So his new account is Zeus Cannon is 25.
Oh my God. You need to get in a voice call with him and his significant others sometimes.
I
'Cause
have
hearing
been.
them. Oh my God. She's such a sweetheart. It just makes fun of him relentlessly, and it's the funniest, sweetest thing.
They're
we
great
played
together.
GeoGuessr the other day, and it was like I'm having so much fun with you guys right now. Like just hearing you guys just bicker like a married
awesome.
old couple.
Man. Well, this has been a great show. We're at the 2-hour mark. Does anybody have any more questions? Mayor, anything else you want to talk about?
No, not. I feel like we covered a lot. I don't want to give you everything because I want to come back at some point.
Oh, okay.
If I give you all I got, then I got nothing to show you for the next one that I want to be on for sure.
That's true.
If you'll have me, of course.
100%.
Oh, Zeus has a question. Oh no.
What is it?
That's a oh no. That's gonna be a yikes real quick.
Yeah. What do you got, Zeus? Would you rather eat a horse-sized hot dog or a hot dog-sized horse?
I hate you so much every day. Every day it gets worse. Wait. A horse-sized hot dog or a hot dog's wait.
A hot dog-sized
on.
horse. I'd pick the
Okay.
second option. I can't handle
Yeah.
a whole horse. Like, at least I can cook it, right? I'm not gonna eat it like.
I mean,
whole.
every hot dog is definitely pre-cooked, right?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think the second option. That's a good one.
Yeah, I think it's just if I had to choose between the two, I feel like the second option is less horse, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's less. I've never had horse. I'm sure it's fine.
I'm sure you
but I know what
have. It's a hot dog,
tastes
you
like.
know, like.
As long as I can take it, I can come to. This is what we'll do. I'll go to Chicago. I'll bring the hot dog sized horse. We can go to Portillo's. I'll be like, cut this up into how many hot dogs and
Yeah.
make them Chicago style for me. Gold.
Gold.
I'm fine with
And
that.
give them away like the mayor you would.
That's right. Give
Yeah.
them. I'll keep a couple. I'll keep like three.
Couple of them, yeah.
I love me some Portillo's. That's like my most touristy thing I could do in Chicago. So
Is it?
I love that.
You do?
Yeah. Do you
I'm
not
not-
like Portillo's?
It's okay. I like the beef sandwiches. I'm not a big like.
I think
there was a hot.
pretty good.
What? The fuck?
But I just want the hot dogs. Like I just love hot dogs. So...
I've never heard of anybody going to Portillo's and be like, one spaghetti, please. Like what?
Well, okay, so I went there okay, it was like the end. I'll make the story short, but it was we were graduating college and I was with a whole bunch of my buddies. We went to some convention in Chicago and the one night we were getting food and we went to Portillo's and the person didn't like hot dogs or beef sandwiches. Like, I'm just gonna get spaghetti. And I'm like, okay,
That's
fine.
weird. Yeah.
It's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, it's a spaghetteria. And I'm just like, what? No one else had this. Like, you could look around all of Portillo's. No one else is having pasta.
Yeah.
Like, I think you just got goofed on.
Yeah.
Like,
It's literally
you
like
idiot.
I feel like it was like a catering option and like whoever orders, I don't know. Who the fuck goes through the drive-thru and is like, one spaghetti, please? You know what I mean? Like
I would like a full spaghetti.
I feel like if you ordered it, the options are you make it yourself. You know what I mean? Like you don't even get
Yeah.
to like order it. They just have it on the menu for like just because Italian restaurant or whatever. But if you order
Yeah.
it, they're just like you can't actually pick this up. You have to make it.
Yeah, they
I
just
don't
give
know.
you a box of pasta.
Yeah, box of
They just-
pasta. Yeah, and
You
the
do it.
ingredients. Yeah, this is our special Portillo's jar. Clap. You know, fucking ridiculous.
I know.
They-
I was just laughing the whole fucking time.
They do have some pretty good chicken sandwiches and cheeseburgers
Okay.
as well. But
Yeah.
there was
Their
a hot
food's
dog
pretty
place.
decent.
It's pretty good, yeah, for fast food. There is a hot dog place though that is now only located within the ballpark of Wrigley Field.
Okay.
And before it was there, it was called Hot Dogs, and it was
Okay.
like
I
the
want some hot
creme de
dogs.
la creme of
Yeah.
hot dog places. Like they had like rattlesnake sausage and like
Ooh.
all this like weird, like kind of not exotic, but like they just like they had foie gras hot dogs. Like, do you know what foie gras is?
Yeah.
Yeah, the foie gras hot dog, like a bunch of crazy shit. And because
Mm-hmm.
the business was so successful, he eventually closed it, and then he got a deal in Wrigleyville, in Wrigley Field.
Dang.
So like he's just doing
Good
the
for
thing that he
him.
loves, you know.
Yeah, it's a kind of sandal. That's
Yeah.
what it is, Zeus.
Foie gras, yes.
Monster.
You fucking ass. Oh, God,
Oh God.
I'm just gonna time you
I just
out
want a hot dog.
just for 1 second.
Let's be smart. Let's be smart.
Foxy asked a question. So, do you have any plans that you want to do when this virus goes away? Travel 100%. We're fully vaccinated, so like we're gonna be planning a trip in like June or July, still wearing our masks and stuff. But You know, like travel is a big one. When the pandemic started, literally before like the international travel ban happened, was the day we came back from Japan, and Japan was absolutely, hands down, bar none, the best vacation I've ever been on in my entire life. Like, everything about it, from the food to getting anywhere we wanted to do. Because like when you go on vacation, one of the biggest things in general is like, how do I get from point A to point B? And in Japan, the answer to that is it's fucking train. You're taking the train everywhere, and your phone tells you when it's going to arrive. And we had a train pass, so we're not paying anything other than like the initial cost of the train pass. So like, and we're taking the bullet train everywhere, like to like Kyoto and Osaka, and like, it was just phenomenal. So yeah, travel is probably the biggest one, but maybe some improv classes, you know.
There you go, some improv classes. I'll have to hit you up when we get closer. It's supposed to be our honeymoon spot. Is gonna be Japan.
That was our honeymoon spot. Yeah, it was.
We're very excited. We're very excited to go. I'm gonna eat so much food. I'm gonna come back 40 pounds heavier, and I could not be happier with it.
That's the way to do it, though, for sure. That's that place. The food is just insanely good. There's a pizza place out there you got to go to too.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna hit you up with like a full list. I want everything. Ashley is learning Japanese, so I don't have to.
Nice.
I'm just gonna learn. Yeah, it's Pizza Hut. Can you
honestly though, it's probably better in Japan.
It probably, the KFC over there is oh wait, that's South Korea.
No, it's Japan. Yeah.
Okay.
KFC, like Christmas KFC is like a big thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
McDonald's is different out there. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Any other questions before we wrap up the show? Thank y'all for being here. Make sure y'all are following Mayor. Bam.
That's a good idea.
There's all the links. All the links. His Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter.
Boom.
Bam. Zeus, I'm going to time you out for 10 minutes, dude. I feel like I know you're not, but I feel like when you type that out, you slowly are raising your hand. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I imagine every time.
You know, he's saying like frick. Like,
who is your favorite mod? I don't have a mod.
Oh, that might be.
But what about you, Mary?
Yeah. My favorite mod is Pup Time. That's my favorite mod. Chasm is also one of my mods. A very good mod, but not as good as the random. Okay, so we have this. I don't know how this happened, but we had this user come in called Pup Time, which is clearly a bot. Anytime someone says dog, doggo, doggy, it just posts 5 emotes of a dog, of different dogs. I don't know how it pulls that stuff from. I don't know what it's subscribed to. Has only said one sentence that's been there. That day freaked me the fuck out because it normally only just posts emotes. And one day it answered a question, and I'm like, oh no. So I just decided to make it my mod. It does nothing, but I love this mod.
Okay. That's pretty awesome, but also like weird. Maybe it's a sentient like program.
I hope so. It's a cool I mean, literally, it's all it does. It just posts emotes of dogs. Whenever you say like, "How's your dog doing?" or "Hot dog," or like, it's fun. It's my favorite mod.
That's so good. That's so great.
Would you rather fight a horse-sized hot dog or a hot dog-sized horse? You know what? I'll fight the horse because at least it can fight back. I feel like a hot dog-sized horse isn't gonna fight back. I don't think it's sentient. Yeah, Pup Time is the best mod. I agree fully.
You're banned, Zeus.
You're banned.
I need to get like a custom band timer for like 69 seconds or something like that.
That's a good one. So we're in talks with our landlord right now to like buy the place from them. Oh. And I asked Chad, I'm like, what questions should I be asking my landlord about the place? And then Zeus brought up, would they rather fight a horse sized hot dog or a hot dog sized horse? Like, thanks a lot. Really can't wait to answer this one.
Writing this down.
My landlord did not have an answer for that. I should update everyone, but yeah, it was pretty silent.
Wow. That is okay. That's the show, everyone. Thank you.
That's the show. That's the show. If it's got a title, it's Hot Dog Size Horse.
Yeah.
I already called
I
it.
already have the title.
Oh, perfect.
Improv is my Dark Souls bonfire.
Oh yeah. I love that one.
That's a really good fucking line. That's really good. All right, everybody. Well, this is the XP Talk Show. Thank you so much for hanging out. Mayor, this won't be the last time we see you. Again, make sure you're following Mayor on all the major platforms. There's just links there on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter.
Thank you.
Type in MayorWertz into Google. He also has some badass music on Spotify, iTunes too. I'm sure all streaming platforms.
iTunes, Apple Music. We may be having a song coming out in April. Not exactly sure, but it has to do with the television show What We Do in the Shadows. That's an
Ooh.
exclusive. It's
Whoa.
exclusive. I haven't talked about that yet.
Oh, hell yeah. We got the MayorWertz exclusive on the XP Talk Show. Hell yeah.
There
Thank
you go.
Thank you for withholding that. All right, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. If you want to see the updated version of the show, there is the links for YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. This episode will be edited a little bit slimmed down and put onto the YouTube for y'all to revisit and watch. The VOD will be up usually like the week afterward, so it'll be unpublished for now. Thank y'all for being here. Have a good night, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, man. Yeah.
Have a good one.
Yep.
Peace.
Catch you later, boys. Bye-bye.